Arkansas. Big recruits will follow, and winning will follow. John Calipari gets to go to a proud program with Final Four national championship pedigree. That's a program that is built to win. Arkansas needed an adrenaline jolt. John Calipari is going to give them.
Kentucky's the bluest of blue. There's only a few schools like that, and Arkansas is one of them.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden. You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios. Heard all across ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Hit that line.
This is The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
You're in need of a serious attitude adjustment, young man. You better get your priorities straight.
Produced by Kristen Johnston.
In spite of the juvenile snickers of some, this is a serious matter.
Call or text The Morning Rush on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. With 6 locations in Springdale and Bentonville, a good deal is never too far away.
You don't need to wear a ball cap, man. You need to let those golden locks flow.
And so it begins. The Cal era got going around 2 o'clock or so yesterday when he arrived at Drake Field to numerous Arkansas Razorback fans that were happy to greet their new basketball coach. Calvary, Calipari, the Cal era, call those Hogs. Whatever you want to call it, it's here. And it's begun yesterday. Now, there's a lot of work to do. Cal's mentioned that. We know that. The roster's depleted, and that's putting it kindly. But it's going to be a lot of fun these next few weeks to watch what he can do out of the transfer portal. You deserve a Hall of Fame coach. You heard him discussing what Arkansas basketball is to him. It is a blue blood. Now, again, maybe that's red meat for our audience this morning, and deservedly so. But last night, I think, made a lot of people proud to be an Arkansas Razorback fan, an Arkansan, and happy to have the third Hall of Fame coach leading this new regime in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
It's a lot of fun, and I think he won some skeptics over last night. All of our coverage of Razorback basketball is presented by Limbird Real Estate Group. They serve all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley for all of your real estate needs. Go to LimbirdTeam.com. By Maverick Male Medical, your wellness and aesthetic center for men in Northwest Arkansas. Look better, live better, love better. Visit MaverickMaleMedical.com. Hey, I think it's okay to have some skepticism and wonder if this is going to work. But I think the way he presented himself and introduced himself on a different level to all of the fan base last night. Ty, I was in a room with probably 30 guys of ages ranging from late 40s to late 50s, early 60s. The few skeptics that were in there that weren't as excited left there pumping their fist. And I think the state probably was like that. A lot of people were already excited. Now they're more excited. The ones that were a little bit skeptical maybe have a little skepticism left, but I think he won over and united. And I think for it's been a while since we were all kind of united behind the Razorback front in the way we are this morning.
Yeah, from south to central to northwest to northeast Arkansas, you took in not just you, but national audiences across the country took in his introduction last night to this Arkansas campus. And I think about just the publicity that you've received in the last few days for not just your basketball program, but the overall athletics department, the students, the prospective high school kids that had never thought about Arkansas in their entire life going to school, that just may have Googled the campus. This has been a great rollout. Now, there's got to be a follow-up to this. You'd like to see wins. You'd like to see production. Everyone knows that. But it has been a hot start for this initial hire for Hunter Yurachek. Got some text already here on the McLarty Daniel hotline, like Derek and Fayetteville, saying like yourself, he had an awesome introductory press conference, had me locked in, deep in thought. That dude knows how to sell himself and his vision. Did it for about an hour or so last night in the press conference and in the introduction with fans. And there's plenty of Cal sound bites that we will play throughout the morning. But the connection part that kind of stood out to me is I know that John Tyson has gotten the majority of this pub, and deservedly so for getting him to campus. In fact, got the second loudest ovation of anyone in attendance last night, only second to John Calipari. But also, Hunter made some comments about the connection and the bridge, really, between Central Arkansas and Warren Stevens and then John Tyson and the Tyson family as well. I thought that was just as important as anything that was said by Cal last night.
Yeah.
Because it's important, as I mentioned earlier this week, there cannot be a divide in this state between Central Arkansas and Northwest Arkansas for our athletics department to have ultimate success. That's my opinion. I think a lot of people would echo that same sentiment.
Well, we're not supposed to bottom line stuff 5 minutes into the show, but the bottom line is this. This is Arkansas's best chance to get to a Final Four and a national championship that you've had in 25 years. I mean, that's the bottom line, because Eric Musselman was the greatest coach you've had since Nolan Richardson, and you got close, but you believe this is the edge to get there. And I say that with not one scholarship player on the roster.
Yeah.
We're all banking in the belief he's going to replicate his ability to attract talent to himself, which is what he has done for many years, to this program. He has made Arkansas cool on a national level. The star power that's going to be around this program is going to probably be surprising to many of us, myself included. So if everything follows over the next few weeks and the next 6 to 12 months that we believe is coming, this is our best chance to get to that championship level in basketball we have not been to since 1995, maybe 96 with a Sweet 16, but since then we weren't there until Eric Musselman arrived. Never really got to the doorstep of a championship. We thought maybe a Final Four was there, but maybe this is the edge to push you past that. That's the bottom line, is we've got to get united as a state. We've got to find a way to get the John Tysons and the Warren Stevens and the Waltons, the Hunts, who have been very generous to the program, and keep going down the list of people that they, we need everyone to believe. Here's our best chance to do what we have to do in today's climate, to do it all, to win it all.
And on that subject, there's reports out there, I think it's from The Athletic, that are on 3 that John Calipari was set to meet with the Waltons, set to meet with the Hunts and other big-time donors to the University of Arkansas last night. And there's already seemed to be a push. Hunter mentioned that it's a good start. They're not entirely there where they want to be yet. Him and Cal have come to some sort of agreement behind closed doors of what they think that number needs to be. But there's a lot of positives right now. David in Alma says, how can you not be excited after watching that? And listen, if you're still not excited, still call in. I'm not going to bash you this morning. If you're still waiting and seeing, I completely understand that. Like Ryan in Hot Springs is the call that stands out to me. He's still a little apprehensive about this hire. And I don't blame you one bit, Ryan. I don't blame any of you for still wanting to kind of wait and see. It's kind of like football. You want to wait and see on this year. Now, the basketball's got a lot more pedigree and a lot more excitement around it right now. But if you hold that belief, that is okay. Even after last night, I'll be okay with that this morning.
Yeah. So plenty to get to. And like Ty said, your calls are welcome. We'd love to hear from all of you this morning. 877-377-6963. That's the McLarty Daniel hotline. The man that was up there with John Calipari last night, Chuck Barrett, will be along our broadcast here in about 20 minutes or so. And I can't wait to hear what Chuck has to say. And just the on-stage time, if there was any off-stage time, I got a lot of questions for Chuck, and who was kind of the ringmaster last night. Hey, it won't be long, and largemouth bass will be spawning at ponds and lakes all over Arkansas and Oklahoma very soon. All waiting on that full moon. The best lure to catch them on at this time of the year is the famous Yum Dinger. They're made in 3, 4, 5, and 6-inch sizes, and they make them by the truckloads right here at Arkansas. In fact, they're in the tackle boxes of bass anglers, pro and amateur, all across the country. Use it on a wacky rigging with the 5-inch model. It can't be beat for spawning bass. It's available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place. It's the famous Yum Dinger.
Let's hear from Cal coming up. What are some of the things that he had to say about you, this program, and what he wants to do moving forward? We'll share with you next.
Just say, Alexa, play ESPN Arkansas.
ESPN Arkansas from TuneIn.
This is Drew Morgan, and you're listening to The Morning Rush. Spring camping season is here. Don't miss the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th at 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers behind Newt. Sponsored by two of the state's largest RV dealers, Wheels RV and Moix RV, with brands you love like Grand Design, Jayco, Brinkley, Flagstaff, Coachman Catalina, Vibe, and Winnebago. On-site financing available, plus food trucks, a variety of vendors, and downtowns for the kids. Make plans to attend the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th, 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway, Rogers.
He struck him out swinging. This is historic. You've never seen anything like this before.
This is the Morning Rush.
Hi, folks. Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where it's spring cleaning time. The lot is blooming with fresh road-ready certified inventory and weekly specials that could save you up to $4,000. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in the Meineke Car Care Center with half-off brakes and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, trade today and save up to $4,000 during spring cleaning at Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
Locally owned Lumber One can handle all of your building needs. They've built their business on having great relationships with everybody from contractors and builders to the everyday build-it-yourself. Lumber One has a full-line door shop to handle all of your door, window, and trim needs. And along with lumber, roofing and drywall products, attic wall and floor insulation is available. Lumber One also does blueprint takeoff with access to design services with estimates available. So go where the pros go. Lumber One, located on Industrial Park Road in Van Buren.
Get ready for an adrenaline-packed weekend as the University of Arkansas Fort Smith baseball team hits Crowder Field on the UAFS campus April 12th through the 14th. The Lions host Cameron University in an epic 4-game homestand. Kick off the excitement with the annual Teal Tailgate starting at noon on Friday, followed by first pitches at 1 o'clock daily and doubleheader action on Saturday. Admission is free. Visit UAFSLions.com for more details and run to the roar with your UAFS Lions.
This summer, take control of your outdoor space with a mosquito misting system from Mosquito Joe. It's the ultimate solution for mosquito-free living. Mosquito Joe installs cutting-edge misting systems discreetly around areas such as pools, patios, and boat docks to create a protective barrier that banishes those annoying bugs. The best part is, you don't have to do a thing. It's like having a mosquito control technician in your yard 24/7. Visit arkansas.mosquitojoe.com.
Join the March Mayhem and catch every game at 810 Billiards and Bowling in Fort Smith. Open 7 days a week with daily specials. Enjoy bowling on one of their 14 lanes. Play pool on one of their 13 tables. Sit at the deluxe bar and indulge on gourmet food while the kids play at the fun arcade. Let the madness begin at 810 Billiards and Bowling, 5609 Rogers Avenue, Fort Smith. Come for the food, but stay for the fun.
Colorworks Paint and Body in Barling offers professional automotive painting, bodywork, and fabrication that is unsurpassed in talent and dedication. Owner Andy Harrod uses the latest in collision repair technology to ensure all damage is addressed, whether it's visible or hidden, and works with all insurance companies. Andy and his crew have the experience and commitment to give you complete trust in the repair of your vehicle, no matter the size of the job. Colorworks is located at 1206 Fort Street in Barling, across from Dollar General, and is on Facebook, where you can check out their work.
Some days you hit snooze, but not today. Today you have to go on a run to get burgers for the tailgate. You've got to haul something heavy, a cooler stocked with Bud Light. When you've got beer and football, nothing is hard, until the other team scores. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. 21 plus. Copyright 2023 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
When it's time for breakfast, Calico County is making it all from scratch. You got the dedicated early morning crew at Calico are cooking up and serving buttermilk pancakes, moist biscuits, rich waffles, country fried potatoes, 3 types of gravy, and of course their famous cinnamon rolls and much more. They serve all of this and a lot more 7 days a week until 11 a.m. Stop in, call ahead, or get it to go. Or just come by and pick up a dozen cinnamon rolls for the office. For breakfast, lunch, dinner, or catering, roll on into Calico County. They're home cooking good. Calico County, just off Rogers Avenue behind Randall Ford.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
You could put her in her crate, but then you'd hear,
What was that?
what in the world is happening this morning?
It was
Verdugo waiting on the 1-1 from Sanchez. Slider hit in the air to left center field, chased by Hamchuk. That's a long run, and he can't get there.
All your favorite podcasts in one place. The Hit That Line Podcast Network. Just search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's a good rejoin to come on in this morning. And I know Chicken Fried was played a little bit last night. We'll tie that into the show with John Tyson. I was, again, pretty surprised. Dave Van Horn got a rousing ovation, as did Hunter Yurchek. I thought people were really complimentary of him when Chuck mentioned him. And, of course, John Calipari. But the loudest outside of Cal was John Tyson. And that was definitely a lot of Arkansas fans appreciate him. And then mentioned Warren Stevens being a big part of this process, too. But what did your new head basketball coach have to say last night? We'll share with you in just a sec.
All right, glad you're here. Brought to you by the Fence Man. Anything you need involving a fence, gates, powered automatic gates, it's there with the Fence Man, the company we trust. If you just need a simple chain link fence or wood privacy fence, they do that. If you're the person at your place of business or the place you own and manage, and you need something more extensive or maybe a custom project when it comes to a fence, maybe you work for a government installation, school district, or a school system that needs a unique fence setup. They do all of those kinds of things. This is a company that can handle the small stuff, but also the big scale installations. And I've seen some of their work. You can see it for yourself at their website, their Facebook page, or you can call Sean and get a custom quote, and he'll be glad to come out and look at your project. 782-3936 is their number. 479-782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
Cal had the audience last night, not just in attendance at Bud Walton Arena, but across the country, eating out of the palm of his hand. And when you become a Razorback head coach, it's always good to tie in former players or former coaches, as he did with Eddie Sutton, his mentor, Nolan Richardson, who had a conversation with. But a player that was in attendance, being Joe Klein, your favorite player growing up, Tommy, had a great backstory on their relationship back with the New Jersey Nets.
So I trade for him. He walks into my office in the arena. We're getting ready to play a game. He says, Coach, I'm Joe Klein. You just traded for me. I said, Joe, I don't have time to talk to you, so I'll see you after the game. He said, should I put a uniform on? And I said, yeah, but you're not going to get in. But go ahead, warm up and be around. You know what happens. My center gets in foul trouble. Another kid gets hurt. I look at Joe. He looks at me. I look at Joe. He looks at me. And I said, go in. We'll run floppy. Anybody that ever, Joe Johnson's here, you know, Ryan, you know what floppy is. It's universal. Anybody can do it. Joe struggled with it, but anybody can do it. So I said, go in. And I could tell you other stories, but he walked by me and stopped and turned back and said, I'm Joe Klein. It's nice to meet you. And then went in a game.
That's a great story. Fantastic story. But you heard him mention Ron Brewer. That, and again, there's several other funnies that he had during the course of his introduction last night. But just who was in attendance. You know, Bigwoods, Hunts, Tysons, Lindsay's, like plenty of, I didn't see Warren Stevens there, didn't mention, but he, of course, had a big hand in this. But I just think about the players that were in attendance last night. When's the last time Joe Johnson has been in Bud Walton Arena? Now, Joe was there, of course, in attendance. He had Ron Brewer Sr., who he mentioned. Ronnie was there. He had several. Kamani Johnson, who, by the way, his older brother, Dakari, played for Cal back in the day, so that's that connection. But you had Tommy, you had Jim Counts. I mean, there's decades upon decades upon decades of Arkansas players in attendance last night.
Tommy Boyer. Greatest free throw shooter ever from Fort Smith, Arkansas, was there. So, yeah, I mean, but that's the kind of event this was. That's the kind of announcement and the kind of personality Coach Cal is. I think we're starting to understand when I didn't flippantly say, I meant it when I said, you've hired Elvis. You know, when it comes to the world of college basketball, you've hired maybe one of the greatest entertainers ever, a Hall of Fame coach, and if you're talking Mount Rushmores of college basketball, he's at least in the conversation. Mm-hmm. If Wooden and Kay are locks, and I think they are, he's in the conversation for one of those other spots up there. So, I mean, I don't think we've really fully digested or comprehend the level of stardom this guy is. You mentioned it was on the SEC network. How many other coaches' introduction press conferences do you recall the SEC network airing live and then making it their SEC Now, and then it was on repeat all evening long?
Mm-hmm.
I don't recall that happening very often. The way he was engaging, the way he worked the crowd, I mean, it was a masterpiece. And listen, you don't want to be. Last night can't be the greatest thing that happens in this tenure. I mean, this has to be just the very beginning. I get all that, but it was a hell of a start.
And I want to say this now because he's not going to like it when he comes on, but Chuck did a really good job last night. I mean, there is so much pressure with that position to be in what Tommy just laid out as this is the biggest news that we've had in quite some time.
Yeah.
And he was about as flawless as it gets last night. The introduction, the mentionings, whatever. If I said that when he's on air, he'd get mad at me, but I'm going to say it now before he comes on with this. But I thought he was phenomenal last night.
Well, I got a few notes for him, but we'll do that during the break. Hey, I thought it was a smooth operation.
Very smooth throughout. Well, there didn't seem to be any miscues, and that was when you have that type of thing, you wonder, hey, are we gonna have a war memorial or a Verizon Arena incident like we always seem to in Little Rock? No issues last night. Congratulations to all parties involved. Now you mentioned just the coaching prowess there, and it's not just Cal, but I was curious if we were gonna hear from Nolan Richardson on this hire. Evidently, Cal had a conversation with him, as did Mike Irwin with the Big Trail Nation. And here is what your Hall of Fame, the best basketball coach in your history, had to say about Cal being hired at Arkansas.
Cal's always had some good players, and he was always a good, motivating, and a guy that I thought could do the job and win national championships. And I still feel that he has that capability of being able to bring a group together and have that opportunity, because he's been there and knows what it's all about, and I think he can do it.
And he mentioned bringing in players. I think it's important to note this morning, I know a lot of you don't follow recruiting as much as, say, Richard or anyone else that does it, but Jaden Quintance, or however you say his name, the top recruit in Kentucky's class, is exiting his national letter of intent and trying to get out of it, or at least trying to get out of it. So just keep an eye on not just the guys on the Kentucky roster that aren't freshmen, but the guys that have signed with Kentucky, and if they might come to Arkansas.
And we can go deeper into this later on, but he laid it out. Hey, before, I haven't taken other opportunities, including really looking at the job in 07 with Frank Broyles. He said, I haven't done that because I didn't want to leave the players. I felt obligated to the players. He said, now we're in an environment, obviously, where players have a lot more freedom over their future. So we'll get deeper into that a little bit later on, but that's a big part of why he's in Fayetteville right now. Hey, we're brought to you by APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group. They have job openings in Northwest Arkansas. If you're a licensed CDL driver, heavy equipment operator, an electrician, diesel mechanic, have experience paving or with working with asphalt, they have jobs available right now. Even if you've worked in a quarry, they have quarry positions right now available right here in Northwest Arkansas. Apply online at jobs.crh.com. That's jobs.crh.com. Top pay, sign-on bonus, great benefits package with insurance, retirement, and profit sharing. That's jobs.crh.com. APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group, they are equal opportunity employers.
The guy that was on stage with him last night, Chuck Barrett, joins us coming up in about 5 minutes. Stay with us.
Streaming live from hitthatline.com.
This is Chuck Barrett, the voice of the Razorbacks, and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
Spring camping season is here. Don't miss the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th at 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers behind Newt. Sponsored by two of the state's largest RV dealers, Wheels RV and Moix RV, with brands you love like Grand Design, Jayco, Brinkley, Flagstaff, Coachman Catalina, Vibe, and Winnebago. On-site financing available, plus food trucks, a variety of vendors, and downtowns for the kids. Make plans to attend the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th, 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway, Rogers.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through HIMS, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at HIMS, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. HIMS.com/JOY.
You guys are the best.
This is the Morning Rush.
The first thing people notice when they drive up to your home or walk in any room of your house is the color. And if you're looking for the perfect color and the perfect paint, you'll find it at the Paint Store in Van Buren. Hi, Tommy Kraft here. The Paint Store in Van Buren gives you hometown service from people who know what they're talking about. You don't have to chase them down to get help at the Paint Store. They're always there to help you get that perfect color and that perfect match for your project. If you're looking for the perfect paint color, it's at the Paint Store, 1414 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren.
Are you ready to indulge in an unforgettable fine dining experience? Then come join us at Uncorked, where every meal is a masterpiece, crafted with the finest ingredients to tantalize your taste buds. And with our extensive selection of cocktails, wine, craft beer, and bourbons, we've got something for everyone. So why not take a break from the ordinary and join us on Phoenix Avenue next to Sodi's? Come savor the moment with us at Uncorked, where every visit is a celebration.
Engagement season is in full swing, and Diamond Center wants to be part of your story. For the entire month of April, we're offering 5 years of 0% interest on purchases. That's right, 5 years, 60 months, 0 interest financing. There has never been a better time to pick out the perfect engagement ring and pop the question. Let Diamond Center help you begin this next step of your journey together with 5 years of 0 interest financing for the entire month of April on all custom design and in-stock pieces of jewelry. Diamond Center, a legacy of love.
Get ready for an adrenaline-packed weekend as the University of Arkansas Fort Smith baseball team hits Crowder Field on the UAFS campus April 12th through the 14th. The Lions host Cameron University in an epic 4-game homestand. Kick off the excitement with the annual Teal Tailgate starting at noon on Friday, followed by first pitches at 1 o'clock daily and doubleheader action on Saturday. Admission is free. Visit UAFSLions.com for more details and run to the roar with your UAFS Lions.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where it's spring cleaning time. The lot is blooming with fresh road-ready certified inventory and weekly specials that could save you up to $4,000. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in the Meineke Car Care Center with half-off brakes and buy 3, get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, trade today and save up to $4,000 during spring cleaning at Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
Can you explain the infield fly rule? Neither can I, but I can help you navigate a variety of legal issues, from divorce to personal injury to estate planning. I'm Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions, a new law firm offering affordable flat fees with payment plans available. You get an ace at the price of a minor leaguer. Now that sounds like a grand slam to me. Call Mock Legal Solutions for your free consultation. 479-769-1505. Real advice, reasonable price.
The American Patriot Promotions Gun Show is coming to the Sebastian County Fairgrounds in Greenwood, Saturday, May the 4th and Sunday, May the 5th. Tickets are just $10 per person, $8 for veterans, military, and active police force. Plus, children 16 and under get in free. On Saturday, the event goes from 9 a.m. till 5 p.m. and Sunday from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. For more information, go to AmericanPatriotPromotions.com. May the 4th be with you.
Solve your roofing problems with Freedom Roofing and sleep soundly beneath a sturdy roof tonight. Locally owned, licensed, and insured, Freedom Roofing is a dependable company that will help you with the insurance claim process. Residential or commercial, they'll be there step by step. Call Keith Holt, 479-597-6777, or Rick Carlisle, 479-651-3247 today on all roofing services and break free from your aging roof. Good luck, Peyton Holt and Hog Baseball from Freedom Roofing.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. You're listening to The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
Coach, they've been waiting for you. Welcome. I have never gotten that kind of greeting in this building. As a matter of fact, you were probably in the building when they threw me out before the game ended. Walked through. We did win that game, though, but they walked out, and you guys were throwing stuff at me then. I wasn't hearing any cheers.
I noticed a couple times last night he made sure to mention in some of those games, whether it was UMass against Arkansas in that Hall of Fame game or the game where he got tossed out of that, they did, in fact, win those games when he was the head coach of those two universities. Well, Chuck was up on stage with them, and he's with us now. Plenty to discuss, not only what we saw in front of us last night, either on the SEC Network or what you heard here on ESPN Arkansas, but also what happened behind the scenes too, Tommy.
Yeah, first a word for Oakland. And can you imagine with all the Kentucky connections at Oakland because of just the natural racing connections, the conversations around the barn and with the trainers and with the jockeys? I'm going to tell you, Kentucky basketball is a big deal with a lot of folks at Oakland this time of the year, and I imagine they're having some interesting back and forths right now. Hey, this weekend will be the Apple Blossom Handicap Day. That's coming up on Saturday. It's a $1.25 million Grade 1 race, and it's going to be an exciting one with the Apple Blossom for fillies and mares going a mile and a 16th. If you want to watch that this weekend, be there in person or download the Oakland Anywhere app, and you can watch and wager from anywhere with your tablet, phone, or computer. Use the promo code RUSH24, and as a new member, you'll get a $150 sign-up bonus. That's the Grade 1 Apple Blossom this weekend. Also, they got the Grade 3 Count Fleet Stakes this weekend. Just a few weekends left at Oakland. Don't miss it. Be sure and get that Oakland Anywhere app and use the promo code RUSH24.
Chuck, I think Jason in Northwest Arkansas sums it up best. That was an $8 million a year press conference last night.
It was very good. It was a night I think we'll all remember. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Everybody who was there. Before we get started on it, I do want to say this because I'll forget it if I don't. I pulled up at, around 4:40 yesterday afternoon at Bud Walton Arena. It was pouring down rain. I mean, it was pouring. People were lined up. They were huddled underneath as much of the arena as they could get under. But I knew when I pulled up, I thought, wow, this is going to be incredible. And it was.
Clay and I were driving. He was driving from his daughter's house in Northwest Arkansas. I was driving from the River Valley, and both of us had difficulty. We were scared that we weren't going to go in because of the traffic that was right around about 5:15, 5:30. Luckily, we did. But I was amazed that despite that weather you mentioned, the amount of people that showed up last night for this event. I was impressed with the Arkansas fans, the devout Arkansas fans that made their way to Bud Walton last night.
Hey, we've had smaller crowds for non-conference games. I mean, that's just the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing the way people turned out, and they were ready to meet their new coach.
Yeah. Well, before we talk about Cal, you were up there on stage. Just what was that experience like for you? I mean, we watched it on TV, or you were in person. I mean, it was a room full of Razorback stars and names that are household names in our state. It was quite a night. I'm trying to think of anything that compares, but I come up short trying to find a comparison in Razorback history.
You think about, and before we started, we were back in the back, and Joe Johnson walks in. And Joe Johnson said he'd not been in Bud Walton Arena in 15 years.
Wow.
So, and this is one of our all-time greats. Well, what made him put on a suit and come to Bud Walton Arena? Cal. I mean, Coach Cal. That's the magnitude of this. Not just his love for the program. Joe Johnson's never stopped loving the program, but it was the introduction of Coach Cal that provided the impetus for him to come. And there were a lot of former players there. And just really a special night.
Yeah. You asked him a simple question to start out last night. It's like, how'd this happen? Here was Cal's response.
And I said to him, Father, I got to decide what I'm going to do here. One is Arkansas, the other is Kentucky. And he told me, go for an hour walk and have in your mind you're the Arkansas coach. And then on the way back, that you're the Kentucky coach. And tell me you'll see what moves your heart and what you want to do. And I did that. And I'll be honest, when I thought about coming here and building this program and making it something special, it got me excited.
And the reinvigorated energy is what you're hoping for, and you saw a glimpse of that last night. Now, he's still got to take it, go get players, as he addressed several times, and turn it into something. Tommy, you've already said a handful of times this morning, this can't be the high point of it. And I don't think it's going to be. No. But I think a lot of people that may have been on the fence last night were definitely more encouraged than discouraged in what they heard.
Well, and I think we're going to see developments as far as this basketball team goes very quickly. I don't think now he said, and he's accurate, that, and we talked about this earlier in the week, that the roster may not take full shape immediately because there are kids out there that, you know, he made clear in the press conference last night that he might be willing to wait on, you know, because they're so good, even though they're looking at NBA possibilities. So I think we'll see development on this roster very quickly. I'm not saying it's going to be complete very quickly, but I think there's going to be movement very quickly.
My guess is the first moves have already been in the works for several days since he had gotten in his mind following that walk or whenever it was, and he said in the press conference later that it was sometime Monday evening or Tuesday morning that he was all in. My guess is, as we talked about with Coach Muss and you know who you're recruiting for today, I would imagine he's been recruiting for Team Cal and for Arkansas for 72 hours or more at this point.
Every coach, and we saw this with Muss as he was leaving, every coach has a core, and they're going to go with him. They're his staff. They're not just his staff from 8 to 5. They're his staff 24/7. Some of them were here. Some of them have been here. And I'm sure that they're very busy young men right now.
I think one of the important tidbits that came out of last night, and there's 15, 20 that we're going to divulge and try and get into these next few days and discover this morning. But they mentioned, Cal mentioned that one of the reasons that he came here, Chuck, was Kelvin Sampson and what he had to say about Hunter Yurachek. And Tommy posed a question earlier this week. Is Hunter Yurachek getting enough credit for his process in this hiring? And whether it was directly asking Cal the question, well, why don't you take the job, or getting the meeting together and coming together with John Tyson. But of anything that was said last night, that stood out to me is like Kelvin Sampson had such good things to say about Hunter that helped convince Cal that this is where I want to be with a guy that has a dedication and wants to have an impact with this basketball program.
Well, I think anybody that goes to work for anyone, if you know someone who's worked for him or with him or around him, you say, hey, what am I getting myself into? Yeah. I've done that. Oh, yeah. I did that this week. I mean, that's just, I think it's standard operating procedure if you're smart.
Yeah. And for those that have been critical of Hunter, wondering if he's going to get fired if the football team doesn't win enough games, if you didn't watch and listen to the systems board meeting yesterday morning at 9, I think the answer is pretty clear that he is on the safest of footings, the most solid ground, because the board that are ultimately all of these people's bosses could not have been more glowing about Hunter Yurachek, at least in that public forum.
Every good athletic director knows exactly where they stand with their board. Years ago, our legendary athletic director retired because he knew where he stood with the board that day. They always know where they stand with the board. At least if they're smart, they do. Hunter does, I'm sure. He's never talked about it. I've never heard him say it, but I'm sure he keeps up. He knows the tally. And right now, however many there are on there, it's that no.
Yeah.
That's his record right now.
Yeah, I mean, because that was the thing, is you kind of went through the formality of voting to make this contract work within the budget line and the things that the board had to do to approve this. But they went out of their way. There was some grandstanding. I'll admit that there was people that were taking their time to make sure they were noticed because they knew there was more people watching their meeting than ever before. But they went out of their way to praise Hunter Yurachek, and that just told me that this guy's job is more than safe.
Public narratives in college sports particularly, man, they can get out of hand in a hurry. And what you believe to be true because everybody's saying it oftentimes has no truth to it at all.
Mm-hmm.
But the narrative turns into a snowball, and you can't stop it. I've never for one single second, and Tommy, I'm not. I'll say I've told you this privately. We've talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that, he's fighting to keep his job, that's ridiculous.
Yes.
I mean, that's just ridiculous. Now, look, every athletic director out there is judged by the football and basketball coaches, at least in our part of the country. You're hired and fired based on how you do with your football and basketball coaches. But the idea that he's been on the clock or that's just never been true.
Yeah.
Another public narrative that was pushed back by Hunter last night was the idea that some other coaches had been offered the job. He was emphatic, saying that this is. Do you believe that, or you don't?
Well,
I do.
Okay. Why?
Because I've been around enough of these things to know. And I said on this show last week, I said we don't know that actually happened. I've never thought that it happened the way it was reported, never, because I've been around it enough to know that 9 times out of 10, in fact, I'll say 9.5 times out of 10, the public narrative is off base.
Yeah.
And we all fall victim to it. We all fall victim to it because most public narratives have enough logic to them to sound believable. And that's how the wildfire catches, and that's how it takes off and spreads. And but, look, we can sit here and talk about all that until we're blue in the face.
Doesn't matter now.
Bottom line is we've got a Hall of Fame basketball coach who I think if there were those who were still skeptical going into last night, most of them he flipped.
Yeah, so you guys were obviously there. I made a point to watch it with – I wanted to see kind of the reaction of the room. So I joined about, 25 or 30 other guys from about, mid to late 40s to late 50s, early 60s. And I'll be honest, there were some skeptics in the room to begin with. They were excited about the hire. They weren't sure about Cal. But I'll say when it was all over with, everyone in that room was pumping their fist. They were high-fiving. And the ones that were maybe the most noted skeptics had all been brought over to the other side. He has that ability with his communication skills. Everyone in the room was fired up. And I asked the question to several, does this make you want to now donate on a monthly basis or give some kind of something to the NIL collective? And they said, yeah, probably. So I don't know that that's going to translate 72 hours from now and everybody's going to be willing, but I think they made great strides last night in unifying our state for the first time in a long time behind one cause.
Well, there's no doubt people were excited about John Calipari. Now, I don't think that, I don't think this basketball season has dissolved our fan base. I don't think that for a single moment. But it was nice last night to feel hope, feel promise, feel like that everything's possible.
Yeah.
And what's been interesting in this process to me is how these Kentucky players that you've hated for the last 10 or 20 years under Cal, or 10 or 15 years under Cal, are now saying that Arkansas is going to be the best spot in the country. I get
that's
that
what
they're a coach and that's their elite. But like, for example, DeMarcus Cousins, Boogie Cousins, listen to what he had to say about Arkansas now as the #1 destination in college basketball.
Arkansas will now be the hot spot. Arkansas will now have the #1 recruiting classes coming in every single year. Arkansas will be full of celebrities. Arkansas will have the most talent coming in and out every single year. The machine will continue to go. It's just being a new place.
Now, that's a guy that knows what John Calipari is like behind the scenes. And they're probably it's not just pleasantries. He's coached him hard. I mean, Cal does that like every other coach in college basketball. But, Chuck, I know, again, you're still in the 24-hour process of meeting this guy, but we saw what happened in the press conference. What happened behind the curtains? What's he like?
Well, he's a very impressive guy. I mean, you meet certain people in life, and it takes you about 5-10 seconds to realize why they are what they are, why they're successful, why they're good at what they do. He's one of those guys. I can tell you that he was what you saw on stage, the stories, all the things that he told, the humorous lines. He did that for an hour backstage before we ever came out. I mean, I won't go so far as to say he held court, but it was pretty close. And he just told stories, very personable. Couldn't have been more impressed from that respect. I did not expect him to be the ogre privately that, you sometimes think you're opposing, your rival coaches. I didn't expect him to be like that, but he was just a really personable human being, someone that anybody could talk to. His wife, Ellen, Mrs. Cal, I guess as she's known, was she was very impressive, very sincere, the kind of lady you'd want as your next door neighbor. I was really, really impressed by both of them personally, just the way they handled themselves, the way they spoke to people. You know a Hall of Famer when you talk to him, and he's a Hall of Famer in every respect. And I didn't know what it would be like in that regard, but I could not have been more impressed with the way he handles himself.
I think one of the phrases that he used last night made sense to a lot of Arkansas fans, like BE in Clarksville, who texted us in on the McLarty Daniel hotline. He's saying there's very few people in the state that don't identify with living Friday to Friday. And I'm going to be honest, when he said that, I had no earthly idea what that meant.
Paycheck to paycheck.
I haven't, to be frank, I haven't experienced that. But there are people within the state and some of our listeners that know what that's like, and that probably resonated with them last night.
Well, sure it did. Yeah. And, I mean, you have to know your audience. You have to know your people. You have to know who you're talking to. You can't talk to an audience until you find some common ground. Otherwise, you're just talking at him. He understands common ground.
All of our conversation about Razorback basketball presented by Limbird Real Estate Group. They're serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For all your real estate needs, go to LimbirdTeam.com. And by Maverick Male Medical, your wellness and aesthetic center for men. They're Northwest Arkansas. Look better, live better, love better. Visit MaverickMaleMedical.com.
Ryan is in Hot Springs this morning on the McLarty Daniel hotline. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, good morning, guys. Y'all still doing Two Stupid Thursdays?
Fire away.
Just this whole media that this idea of Arkansas and how why'd you come to Arkansas, and the fellow y'all played is talking about Arkansas going to be a happening spot. Well, little does he know it kind of already is. I mean, wasn't that long ago they just filmed a whole season of True Detective, and Dennis Quaid's actually currently in Northwest Arkansas filming a movie. I forgot who there's another big name actor in that movie with him, but and look, I think it's JJ's that's had all the huge big name hip hop artists like and rappers and stuff like Snoop Dogg, and I think even Ice Cube's been there. So I just this whole idea of Arkansas has, I guess, kind of been awakened a little bit and really opened some eyes, and that's kind of that. If nothing else, that excites me more than anything else. How this thing with Cal plays out. I'm definitely going to enjoy the ride, but I definitely think it's opened up some eyes, though.
We do love national exposure. Man, we love it. And we got good national exposure last night. I think what Boogie Cousins was saying a few moments ago when he was talking about that was he was really commenting on Cal's range of friends. And I've had more than one person who have worked around him over the last few days who've just said, man, some days you're going to walk in and you're just going to be blown away by the people who are sitting in his office. And he goes, it's going to be a star parade in here. So I guess that'll be interesting.
I don't even know the relationship, how it started with John Tyson and him, but that's the notable one in this state that was said several times yesterday. Jimmy is in Conway this morning on the McLarty Daniel hotline. What's up, Jimmy?
Top of the morning to you. Say hallelujah. I'm super proud to be where we're at right now. But let's talk about Kentucky for a second here. If they miss on Scott Drew, if they do not get him, this is going to be quite comical, because they are going to be in a tizzy. It's going to be Donovan can't do anything right now because he's locked in with the Bulls, and I don't think Hurley's leaving Connecticut. I just don't believe it. I think they're going to be a mess if they don't get their man. It's going to be hilarious to see if they don't get Drew. Thanks, guys.
Sounds like
Thanks,
you're rooting for it, Jimmy.
Rooting for their demise. I'd be shocked if Dan Hurley leave. He's been asked about it directly after the national championship. He got asked about it on a national radio show yesterday. He's not leaving Storrs, Connecticut. He's going for that three-peat, which I don't believe has ever been done in college basketball, if I remember his comments correctly. Scott Drew, I think his family was seen in Lexington. If I saw that report right, maybe I need to probably go back and double-check, but I'd be curious to see if he left Wake or not. If that doesn't happen, they could be in flux. And I think that this is kind of opened the eyes of some people. So think about this. This is not Alabama football. The Alabama basketball coach elected to stay in Tuscaloosa in favor of that job rather than the one of Lexington. Think about that for a sec. We are seeing a change in the dynamic of college basketball. I'm not saying that Kentucky's a bad job. We know it's a great job. But I think that it's with Cal leaving, Oates, and there's some other things that people are turning it down reportedly, at least not having interest. I think that's an interesting part of all this.
That's what they're saying publicly.
Don't get caught up in the public narrative.
Yeah, exactly.
Just what we were talking about a minute ago. Scott Drew's family's not been in Lexington. I mean, Scott Drew's family, his wife, they have not been in Lexington. That's ridiculous. And he may take the job, but I've also read a report that his wife doesn't want to leave Waco. So, I mean, who knows? I couldn't care less. I just couldn't care less what they do. We got our guy.
Yeah.
Here's how I would approach that. You want them to fail so it's easier for you to have success. That's why I care about that. That's why I care about that job. Because if they don't hire a good coach, then
I think you're a little naive if you believe Kentucky basketball is going to fall off the face of the earth.
I'm not going to say that, but if they don't get what they're expected to
they'll get a coach. They'll get a coach.
Yeah, they're not going to.
I've watched Kentucky for years, Ty. People, Kentucky's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
they're not going anywhere.
In their mind, they don't hire a coach; they select a coach. That's kind of their.
Cal's not the first Hall of Fame coach they've had at Kentucky, and he won't be the last.
By the way,
they tell you they make them Hall of Fame coaches. There's what they would tell
sometimes you. They do.
Yeah.
I forgot. I'm an idiot this morning. Clay was telling me Gail Goodrich is going to talk to him about Cal this morning being a part of UCLA.
Gail
John Wooden,
Goodrich.
yeah, the lefty Laker, but UCLA won more than just 3 straight championships for John Wooden. I think they won 6 or 7. So, but Hurley's trying to do it in the modern times. We'll see if he's able to.
More than 6 or 7.
Yeah, well, in a row they won. I think.
Be that as it may, let's not get bogged down in that. I think that for right now in college basketball. We're right where we need to be, and I think that's what excites people.
Yeah. Well, now that that's over, let's go to Augusta, boys. How would you like to be at the Masters right now? They're going to, I guess about right now, get out and have the honorary tee shot. I was looking at the odds-on favorites on the Bet Saracen app. Scotty Scheffler's still the odds-on favorite at plus 350, and then Matsuyama is next at plus 900. So there's a sizable edge in the betting favorites with Scotty Scheffler. You can get all of the different bets around the Masters and opportunities from first round to a whole variety of different plays this weekend. Top 10, top 20, Scheffler to make the cut. I mean, it goes on and on, the different bets. Go to the Bet Saracen app, download it on your phone, and have some fun with the Masters this weekend in Augusta, Georgia with the Bet Saracen app.
Hour number 2 coming up here on the Morning Rush. We'll talk some Masters and this baseball team, but staying on the Cal News.
Spring camping season is here. Don't miss the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th at 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers behind Newt. Sponsored by 2 of the state's largest RV dealers, Wheels RV and Moix RV, with brands you love like Grand Design.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust.
You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the #1 source for all your sports betting this season and every season. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends all at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. The fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. Go to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure you use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the #1 source for all your sports betting this season and every season. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends all at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. The fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. Go to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure you use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see.
Of some. This is a serious matter.
Call or text the Morning Rush on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. With 6 locations in Springdale and Bentonville, a good deal is never too far away.
You don't need to wear a ball cap, man. You need to let those golden locks flow.
So we were talking about the Kentucky job at the end of hour number 1 and Dan Hurley being mentioned. Isn't it crazy you had more people at the Cal introduction last night than UConn had at their national championship presentation? Arkansas basketball is here to stay. You've asked for a Hall of Fame coach, and Hunter Yurachek delivered you on the 3rd in Arkansas basketball history and the all-time current winning coach in college basketball that is still in the sport. John Calipari is going to do a lot of things for not just the basketball program, but for this school, as we've seen the last couple days, and we'll continue on. Talk some money, too, as we get going in hour 2.
All of our conversation about Razorback basketball is presented by the Limbird Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For all your real estate needs, go to LimbirdTeam.com. And by Maverick Male Medical, your wellness and aesthetic center for men in Northwest Arkansas. Look better, live better, love better. Visit MaverickMaleMedical.com.
So you asked a good question earlier this week about, hey, would Cal be the coach that maybe pushes some people to donating to NIL? Denison Springdale evidently last night has started the $50 a month donation via the McLarty Daniel Hotline. We got another text this morning for Bill in Northeast Arkansas that wants to know more about it, that he's more prone to do it. We've seen Cal's contract. He's making $7 million. He's got a bunch of bonuses that if he has success in the NCAA tournament. But it sounds like there has been a rejuvenation within Arkansas Edge and the NIL department due to John Calipari.
I thought they should have put the phone number and the website at the bottom of the screen and Jerry Lewis come out at some point. And we should have
put the code up on the screen.
Yeah,
we should have put the QR codes.
Yeah, we should have had a telethon last night. Right. We could have raised a fortune.
They did have the QR code up at least on the screen, on the big screen.
Did they really?
Yeah, they
That's
did.
Awesome.
Good. So they had that up, rotating with season basketball tickets amongst other things.
Next to winning the national title, if this isn't going to do it, if this isn't going to get you motivated, I don't know what else will.
JT Hot Springs Sexton, he said, after watching last night, I'm all in. Cal's going to win 5 straight natties. I don't know if I'd go that far, but I was encouraged to hear not just what I heard about NIL, but last night how that seems to be a push. And apparently, according to Cal, according to Hunter Yurachek and other sources, it started with John Tyson, who got his due last night. Here's Hunter Yurachek on John.
I want to make sure I recognize 2 key people and their families who played a significant role in our ability to hire Coach Cal. I am deeply appreciative to Mr. John Tyson for serving as a conduit.
Well, I'm a chicken fried. A cold beer on a Friday night.
I don't know. You could hear that through the screen. I just wanted to make sure, but I thought that was well timed. But he said 2 there. It's not just John Tyson. He's got the public appreciation. He's gotten the public thanks. But this is important. I think it's probably the most important thing that was said at any point last night. It was also Warren Stevens, and here's what Hunter had to say about not just John, but Warren too.
This commitment was far more than just making a connection. John Tyson and his family are from here in Northwest Arkansas. And Warren Stevens and his family from Central Arkansas joined forces together to make certain we could offer the type of package that would lure Coach Cal to Fayetteville.
Now, he goes on for a little bit more, but it's the combination, right? It's Northwest Arkansas and Central Arkansas. And there's been a budding rivalry between both of those places. And we had wondered, hey, would there be a coach out there that could combine both big monies? And whether it's the Hunts and then also the Waltons that evidently met with Cal last night, according to reports, that would be something else to monitor. But at least on the outset, it sounds like that this guy managed to put both parties together in Central and Northwest Arkansas.
Yep, and I don't know if the full story, Chuck, is going to come out with John Tyson, and we know about the relationship, but, it sounded like from the way the conversation carried and that you were leading last night that, originally the conversation was just to make the connection with Hunter Yurachek so that maybe they could explore other candidates and just talk about it, and it turned into John Calipari being a candidate.
Well, yeah, and I mean they kind of recounted all that and how it went down, and it's interesting that it did transpire like that. We need to understand, and he said this again last night, and I felt this all along, that we don't take a backseat to anybody when it comes particularly to basketball. We don't take a backseat to anyone, and I think he was attracted to all that. I think it was probably a job that he might have been interested in from the get-go. I don't know. I think probably, based on what we know from the outside looking in about his relationship with John Tyson, I would imagine he probably knew what John Tyson was getting at. I mean, I think he probably knew John Tyson wanted him to be the coach. I've got to believe that was somewhere in his mind all along.
And based on what Cal said last night, it sounds like it was a very similar story that he had with Frank Broyles back in 2007. It's almost phrased to him the same way when he was talking. He was giving compliments to the Arkansas job, both in 2007 reportedly, and then he said, it's not reported, Cal said it, and then also, which he did over the weekend, and then like Frank, Hunter just kind of framed it as, why don't you take it?
Well, one thing that I think is overriding in all of this, a week ago we felt jilted. This morning we feel loved. And that's powerful. Last week, Muss told us we weren't good enough. This week, John Calipari called us a blue blood. That's a stark contrast for a week in terms of a fan base. It was a love-in last night. John Calipari told the Razorback fans he loved them, and Razorback fans need to be loved right now. I mean, Muss left last week, or the week before. Maybe he checked out even before that. I don't know. But when you feel jilted, and then a star like John Calipari comes in and says, hey, I love you, I want to be with you, it means more.
And with the Masters going on this week, there's always attention paid to Tiger Woods, and this isn't your phrase, Tom. I've heard you say it before. It's not Tiger Woods doesn't move the needle. He is the needle. Mm-hmm. We found out the last few days that John Calipari doesn't move the needle in college basketball. He is the needle in college basketball.
He's part of it.
And
he's part of it.
Not just college basketball, with Roy Williams, Mike Krzyzewski, Jay Wright, all exiting the sport recently. He is the centerpiece in college basketball.
All right, more calls and questions coming up. Hey, for over a century, your friends and neighbors at Farm Credit of Western Arkansas have helped you keep your farm or ranch up and running through the good times and the tough ones as well. Visit myaglender.com or drop by any of their 26 locations near you and see how Farm Credit of Western Arkansas can keep your farm or your ranch operating from sunrise to sunset.
All right, when we return here on the Morning Rush, we got our Morning Rush Daily question. And I know this thing has been said before, but I think it's more of a question now than it's ever been here on April the 11th, 2024. Is Arkansas a basketball school? Does it supersede football? Think about that. Ponder on that, and we'll answer it on the other side.
Just say, Alexa, play ESPN Arkansas.
ESPN Arkansas from TuneIn.
Hey, this is Billy Ray Smith Jr., and you're listening to The Morning Rush.
Spring camping season is here. Don't miss the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th at 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers behind Newt. Sponsored by two of the state's largest RV dealers, Wheels RV and Moix RV, with brands you love like Grand Design, Jayco, Brinkley, Flagstaff, Coachman Catalina, Vibe, and Winnebago. On-site financing available, plus food trucks, a variety of vendors, and downtowns for the kids. Make plans to attend the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th, 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway, Rogers.
Tommy Kraft here for The Fence Man, the company you can trust when it comes to building your next fence. The Fence Man recently built new gates for my existing fence. The whole process was easy, quick, and most importantly, affordable. Plus, 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available with The Fence Man. If you need a new fence, gate, or anything that involves a fence, call The Fence Man, 479-782-3936. That's 782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
This is the Morning Rush.
House here in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Riley Farm Dental, at the entrance to Riley Farms, provides every type of dental care and procedure for you and your family, from general dentistry, braces, implants, and cosmetics. Dr. Sparkman, Davis, and Farmer give all of their patients better lives with a better smile, more confident, and a comfortable experience every time. Riley Farm Dental, 5901 Riley Park Drive, Suite A, at the entrance to Riley Farms. Now offering same-day crowns. Call 226-3500 for an appointment or visit RileyFarmDental.com.
The paint store in Van Buren is still the place to go to when doing the job right really matters. Our unique line of Richards paint products was chosen by me to perform for you. This is Sue, and my 35 years of experience ensures you get the right paint and the right color. That's important to you and me. Thank you for your support. Come see what I'm talking about. 1414 Fayetteville Road, the paint store, Van Buren.
It's 2024. Let's go see what's new at the Golf Nut. Peen G430 Max 10K driver. Peen's straightest and most forgiving driver. TaylorMade QI 10 Max woods and irons with 10K inertia, making it the most forgiving driver ever. And Cleveland Launcher XL2 woods and irons. Call Matt Brooks for a lesson, 646-4430. And start a new year with more confidence on the course. The Golf Nut, 5121 Towson Avenue, Fort Smith's #1 golf shop since 1994.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Pickup truck, sports car, motorcycle, minivan, townhouse, two-story, farmhouse, fixer-upper. What you drive and where you live is different for everyone, so it's important to have insurance that fits your needs and is just right for you. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that, which is why our agents help you design a comprehensive auto, home, and life insurance plan. Insurance that fits just right.
Call Randy Milam in Alma or Brandon Zimmerman in Bartley.
Elite Roofing is a locally owned roofing contractor. If you're building a new home or maybe need a new roof on your existing home, Elite Roofing can take care of you. Elite Roofing is known for their dependability and reliability. Just ask any of their satisfied customers. They are licensed and insured, and references are available upon request. If you need a roof, call your local roofing contractors. Elite Roofing, 478-8668. That's 478-8668. Elite Roofing, 478-8668.
If you knew all that Jody's Auto Service Centers can do for your vehicle and you'd never take your vehicle anywhere else.
My fleet is small, 14 trucks and cars. It's a struggle every day with parts, employees, and scheduling, but one thing I never worry about is vehicles. Jody's has special fleet pricing, special in and out service, or free shuttle and pickup and delivery service. And they do everything: service, repair, and maintenance. That makes my life much easier. All my vehicles go to Jody's.
Latest technology and highly trained technicians means we could do it all. From the most highly technical repairs to everyday oil change specials, tires, everything, even diesels. Jody'sAuto.com. Schedule free shuttle service or pickup and delivery. Get a tire quote, get financing. Jody's Auto Service Centers, voted best of the best by our customers year after year. We're your neighbor since 1984 with 3 full-service locations in Fort Smith and Van Buren. See for yourself at JODYSauto.com.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. It's time for the Red River Dodge Morning Rush Daily Question. Red River Dodge in Heber Springs, Arkansas's #1 Ram dealer. Log on at redriverdodge.com.
Your Honor, I'd like to ask for a recess. I'd like an answer to the question, Judge.
The court will wait for an answer.
So is Arkansas now a basketball school with the hire of a Hall of Fame coach? We'll get to some text, but I want to give my opinion on this, as do Chuck and Tommy. You know, when that question was asked to me yesterday by Tommy, I initially thought, no, I don't think so. I think there's still football. But here's what I would say. Arkansas is a football state, but we are not a football school. And here's why. Since 1992, you have not won a conference championship. You've only had 10-plus wins a handful of times, and you really haven't competed in year out for the SEC. And I don't think you would be able to attract a Hall of Fame football coach to coach your football program. Now, I could be proven wrong. Maybe in the next 10 years, 15 years, I'm wrong about that. Hopefully I am wrong, and the football program is able to do that. But you can do that in basketball. You've won a national championship since you joined the Southeastern Conference. You just got a Hall of Fame coach. You've got numerous Final Fours. You've got a high winning percentage inside the top 15. What I would say, and again, distinguishing, this is a now basketball school, but you're still a football state. That's how I would compare it this morning.
And the question, are we now a basketball school? And I think, you look at the attention, you look at the crowd that showed up last night for the excitement of John Calipari's introduction. You look at the response it's gotten. I mean, from the attention, I'm not talking about winning some of the responses when I asked the question earlier in the day yesterday of, well, we're a track school, we're a baseball school. I'm not talking about titles and championships. I'm talking about what energizes people, the attention that it brings, the attention that you merit. Guys, I think we're trending in that direction. I think the next 12 months will tell the tale. But Chuck, if you told me Arkansas is now a basketball school, I don't have a lot of pushback.
Well, people love to identify and put you in a category. We're a Razorback school. I mean, Ty, if I applied the logic you just laid forth a minute ago, we're a baseball school. Certainly football and basketball move the needle more than the other sports when they're doing well. But I've seen it when football was pretty hot. And, maybe not to the national championship level, but I will not go so far as to say we're a basketball school over a football school. I think we're a Razorback school, Razorback state. Whichever Razorback team's doing the best, those are the ones that we gravitate towards. Look, who got the biggest ovation other than John Calipari last night in that building? Dave Van Horn. Well, maybe John Tyson.
Yeah.
Well, in defense, you told those people not to clap, and then they didn't follow your instructions. They did not listen to you, Chuck.
My point is that we go with who's winning today.
Yeah.
Today, basketball moves the needle more than anything else today. When we get to June, it'll be baseball. When we get to September, it'll be football. That's just how it is at a place that's rabid about their college team. But I will not go so far as to say we are a basketball school. We are good at basketball. I don't think that makes us a basketball school necessarily.
Justin in Fayetteville says he feels like that we're known more for our basketball teams by other fan bases when he has conversations. Text out of the 870 says we are more of a basketball state. It's not close. Look at the talent produced for both sport in the last couple years. There's plenty of other texts on this, but
I agree in terms of the state, and I might actually be, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but I might take the opposite view of the one you said a moment ago. I still think we are a football first school, but we, in terms of what we produce in our state, major college players, we're a basketball state in that regard. It doesn't mean that at every high school in Arkansas, football doesn't come first, because it does, in most of them anyway. But basketball is where we've produced a lot of players that have played long term at the highest level.
But I believe as long as John Calipari is your head coach, that the identity from the outside world looking in at Arkansas is going to be about the men's basketball.
For right
team.
now, that's for sure.
For the short term, and let's all understand this is not going to last forever. But while it lasts, John Calipari's tenure, the identity of our school from the outside world, they'll think of Arkansas basketball before they think of the other sports.
And maybe not, and I think to what you just said, maybe not the fans themselves, but it's the outside perception, which is thin. And I will say this, and I don't think this is going to happen. I'll go and put this out there. But let's say the impossible happens, and Sam Pittman, Bobby Petrino, and Travis Williams go out and they win 9 or 10 games this year. You will have the same conversation, and we will then re-identify ourselves as a football state. When football's on the high, it's untouchable. When you were winning 9, 10, 11 games, it is untouchable. You cannot touch it, even as hyped as you get about the College World Series or a Sweet 16 Elite 8 run. You just can't touch the prowess of a double-digit win football season. I don't know if they're going to get back to that anytime soon, but I would say that would be the into that conversation on that regard. Again,
you're kind of answering the question yourself then. If you're saying there's nothing like a 10-win season in football, then we're not a basketball school.
All right, that's your Morning Rush Daily Question. It's brought to you by Red River Dodge in Heber Springs. They are Arkansas's #1 Ram dealer. Log on at redriverdodge.com.
So I want to go back to some of the things that John Calipari had to say last night, because there's plenty to get into. He had some funnies about Cal and whatnot, but when asked about what attracted him to Arkansas and what spearheaded this thing, it wasn't just a conversation that him and Hunter Yurachek had. It's a conversation that he had back in the day in Forest City, evidently with Frank Broyles.
It started with Coach Broyles. I mean, who he was, what he stood for. When I met him, I was kind of intimidated.
So if I have the timeline correct, he was the Memphis coach at the time, and he was going over there. But, I mean, Chuck, you've had plenty of conversations with Frank Broyles. Tommy, you've had a run-in or two with him. But just like as it is Masters Week, and I think it ties in well to any time we can talk about Frank and the Masters, just like the aura and the presence that he had back in the day as the athletics director of Arkansas, it doesn't matter how big a cachet you had. And Cal has as big a cachet in the coaching profession it is, there was still kind of an awestruck moment, it sounds like, when he met Frank for the first time.
Sounds like there was. You're right.
Yeah, and
he detailed it last night, and all those things are interesting. And Coach Broyles certainly had that type of reputation, and I'm sure when he spoke to any coach that they listened.
Yeah. Frank Broyles, I think people forget. Yeah, he was what 6'3", 6'4". I mean,
mentioned the legs there. I thought that was
right.
funny.
I mean, but he had this reverence about him, and he had this. He had the charm, kind of like we saw with Coach Cal. But there was a reverence for him that Coach Cal even recognized. So he's much like when Calipari enters a room, everybody knows it. Frank Broyles was the same way. So I could understand, particularly 15 years ago, at a different stage in John Calipari's career, why he would feel that way.
Yeah. And on the subject of charm, let's welcome in the charming Tom Murphy, who's in attendance, who's sitting right in front of me last night in Bud Walton Arena. Got a chance to see Cal and everything he had to say. Tom, we appreciate you joining us. I wonder, as Cal talked about the challenge of filling the roster and asked Razorback fans to give it time, what other challenges do you anticipate him having to endure as the Arkansas head basketball coach?
Oh, good morning, guys, and you're too kind, Ty. Yeah, plenty of challenges, but I'll tell you, he didn't seem very, overly concerned about he joked about it a couple of times. I met with a team. There is no team. But who knows? Maybe a guy or two that entered the portal might want to come back and start, laying the foundation for the next roster. But what a masterful job of playing the crowd and just hitting on all the right notes by John Calipari last night. He knows his audience. He didn't get where he is by being an introverted guy. And I'll tell you, it sounded to me like what was important to him was how he emphasized to Chuck that he was a grinder, and he wants to be, a guy who works his team, practices hard. He asked Bob last night, "Have you ever been to one of my practices?" And Bob said he was never invited. And then he wants to be, his friends call him Johnny, Johnny Calipari. So it was certainly a great opening, segment for John Calipari in front of the Arkansas folks.
Tom, Hunter got asked about NIL last night, and we've already had some texters that said they have signed up this morning. He said they're not where I'm paraphrasing, they're not where they want to be yet, but him and Cal behind the scene have kind of agreed where they want to read. Reportedly had meetings last night. How much of an impact do you think not just last night had, but the last few days have had on raising money for Arkansas Edge?
Well, it was a big deal. Certainly, they played it for what it was worth, and there was promos for sign up for season tickets yesterday and last night. I was the one who asked Hunter Yurachek about the NIL, and what I thought was interesting was he said people are acting as if the money is already in the bank, and it is not. We have to keep working, and so this is a big deal. The push for NIL money, and obviously they're hoping it bleeds over into football because that needs it too. But, it was cool to see all the coaches there, Sam Pittman, Dave Van Horn, Hunter Yurachek rattled off the rankings of all the teams. And, it surprises you a little bit when, 8 or 9 teams are in the top 15 in their sports. Pretty cool deal.
Yeah. Tom Murphy with us on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. Let's talk about job one, and that's roster construction. How quick do you expect to see some movement? I suspect, Tom, there's been work done for the last several days, even though the introduction was last night. You expecting something the next day or two, or when do you think the first news will come that, hey, we now have a player on the roster?
Well, that's a great question, and no doubt, as soon as John Calipari understood that it was going to be, it obviously was his decision, and he probably, I can't remember the exact timeline of when I think it was late Sunday night, that he said that, yeah, he's probably going to make it happen. Didn't want to step on the Final Four. I get that, which is a little bit old school. But, he understood how earth-shaking the news was going to be. But at that point, I'm sure he had an idea. And, you saw Big Z last night posted the picture of, the graphic of Cal going to Arkansas, which was interesting. I don't doubt that players who were committed to Kentucky will come over. Will there be an Arkansas player or two? And if I had gotten the last question in last night at the presser, it was going to be, you played against some of these guys from Arkansas who were in the portal, or any of those guys potential to come back. So I don't think it will take very long before we start seeing guys who commit to the Razorbacks.
I know he reportedly had half a dozen or so staff members with him. Some of those would be coaching candidates. Some of those would just be those that helped John Calipari. What do you think the timeline will be? And I know this was spoken to a little bit last night as far as forming the staff and getting those that are going to surround him on the bench and in other roles in Fayetteville.
Right. Probably very soon. I hope Ronnie Brewer winds up on the staff. Obviously, he had a lot to do with some of the great recruiting Arkansas had in the last few years. Certainly a former player, a guy Cal was matched up against. I think, if the timelines match up good. But, yeah, I think that type of news will start coming down the pike very soon.
Yep. He made it really clear it's a players-first system with him. He's all about the players. Our fan base and our people are all about the Razorbacks a lot of times. Do you think there's a potential collision or clash between those two philosophies?
I think they could fit hand in glove pretty well. And then it's the players who are playing for the Razorbacks as well. So I don't know. We'll just have to see what the long range shows on that front. But yeah, never to throw a player under the bus. As I mentioned on Tuesday, I've gone to a lot of his post-game press conferences as, the side beat writer. When Bob's in there with Muss or Mike Anderson, whomever, I've been in press conferences with John Calipari, and he's right. He never singles out players and stuff. So they played a montage of Kentucky players, starting with John Wall and so on, who have attested to his commitment to players, the bonds he forms there, and I don't doubt that it's real, because it's pretty much every Kentucky player who's come down the pike. And you heard DeMarcus Cousins, he was on some form of media in the last couple of days saying how Arkansas will now be a magnet for, celebrities, and there's going to be this entertainment value to what he does, and that's all part of the deal now,
He was asking you kind of about the draft narrative, because I did find it interesting. I know he's big on getting guys to the NBA and whatnot. How do you think Arkansas fans, to kind of bridge off that, are going to handle guys like Malik Monk or Archie Goodwin or those other Kentucky players being in Bud Walton Arena?
Yeah, the guys who didn't stay with a home state school. That's a good question. But time seems to ease things in every front that you can think of. Time eases things, and even though there will be some Arkansas fans who would never, forgive Malik Monk for leaving, a large section of them will be happy to have him back. He's still an active NBA player, so who knows when we'll see him here at Bud Walton. But I wouldn't doubt if some Kentucky players that aren't from Arkansas will wind up visiting him here, as Boogie Cousins pointed out.
It'll be okay because Coach Cal said it was okay. I think that's going to be the view for many.
Tom, last thing before we let you go, and we appreciate you making some time with us as always via the McLarty Daniel hotline. Baseball team wins again last night, 8-2. They travel to Tuscaloosa this weekend. Peyton Stovall goes, I think, 4 for 4 last night. He's now leading the team in batting average. David Horn says they haven't peaked. How does this team get better in your eyes, and the fact that they've just been excellent these last few games?
That's a good question. Hard to get much better from the pitching standpoint, as they're leading the country in ERA by a pretty good margin over Texas A&M. I think he's probably looking at the hitting, and he's looking at Kendall Diggs, who's in a slump right now, knowing that, the guy hits in the 3, 4, 5 hole for you and will begin to produce better. Aloy is really coming along. In fact, he was asked about Aloy yesterday. What would you give him a day of rest? And he doesn't want him to get out of the groove he's in, because it took him a couple of weeks into the season to not chase everything and to not, chase out of the zone and take walks and things like that. Because at the start, you were concerned he was so hyped to be playing in a major college that he'd have a big hole in his swing and would chase. But he's gotten so much better. He got his average up over 300, so I think he's about 299 heading into oh, gosh, I saw a guy in a scooter just drive right in front of the car.
Oh, no.
He's okay. But, yeah, so he's seeing, his order. What I really like about what they have is I think this is the deepest roster of position players we've seen. They can interchange, Ross Lovich, Jason Jones, Will Edmondson out in left field. Jared Sprague-Lott's rested for a couple of days. He's been one of your better hitters. And so Sousa's played third base and has continued to produce 2-run doubles and things like that. And but I do believe he feels like the batting order, all in all, could, a little higher batting average, better with runners in scoring position. They weren't actually very good at that yesterday. So I see what he means, and their peak can be a lot better than what they are right now.
Yeah. All right. So Coach Cal, baseball, and oh, by the way, the red-white football game is on Saturday.
Yeah.
Kind of gotten lost.
It did. And, during the introductions last night of all the head coaches who were there that Chuck rolled off, DVH got the biggest reception for sure, sitting right next to Sam Pittman. But, yeah, I think there's a bit of a quiet confidence that this roster they're going to be a better team. He said that they're going to rest all of the ones in the second half, so that was pretty good to hear. can't afford injury as thin as they are. But I believe they're going to be a better team. The completion percentage for Taylor Green, you want to see up a little bit more. You can see maybe why he was in the high 50s at Boise State. That's got to be up into the 60s. Better tackling team maybe. But, yeah, we'll see a good thing on Saturday with the ones coming out at halftime.
All right, Tom, we'll talk to you next week, and we'll recap it all and see what the news of the day is by the next time we visit.
Sounds like a good deal. See y'all.
Tom Murphy, Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Whole Hog Sports with us on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. 6 locations in Springdale and Bentonville. A good deal is never too far away. They're always online at McLartyDaniel.com.
Chuck, Tommy did it at the tail end there, but yes, we do have a spring football game that you're going to be broadcasting right here on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. It hadn't gotten just lost in the shuffle. It's been completely forgotten this week. I mean, I listened to Sam Pittman. I mean, I listened to that press conference, but it's just gone. No one's talked about it.
Well, but I think Razorback fans are in a good mood today, and that may very well be reflected for several days. And we might see a dividend from that at the spring football game on Saturday. Who knows? Looks like the weather's going to be great. One observation I want to make about this Cal thing. Yesterday clearly was a big day around here. I would imagine last night at 6 o'clock there were as many eyeballs on John Calipari as there have been on anything in our state in a long time. I can tell you running around the building, the arena before it started, man, everybody was nervous. Everybody was nervous. I was nervous. I think it would be accurate to say that Hunter had nerves. I think everybody had nerves. The one guy who was unfazed by it all, John Calipari. It was just another day in the spotlight. Now, you don't change jobs every day, but he lives in the spotlight every day. I was struck last night about it was just another day. It was another day at the office. Now, clearly for us, it was a huge day. It's a huge day for him. I'm not minimizing the importance to him. My point is that he is very accustomed to being the center of attention. It's how he lives his life. He was interviewed, or they tried to interview him walking his dog the other day. This guy is there's not anything that's going to happen that's going to phase him.
And even the other coaches on campus are getting asked about Cal.
You guys probably haven't been told we just moved the game up because there's supposedly a window now. So that'll give you guys a little more time to handle basketball and all that stuff you're really interested in right now. Do I pay any attention to it? Yeah, I watch it, and I'm glad it's over. It's finally baseball season, right? Yeah, I pay attention to it, man.
You going to talk to him about waving goodbye that time?
Well, if he wants to.
I did get a kick out of him and Cal shaking hands last night. But, yeah, Dave Van Horn had some fun yesterday talking about John Calipari's hiring, which took place last night.
If you were watching on the TV broadcast, because they left the mic hot, which it worked out okay, but he asked Dave Van Horn about his game. And I think he mentioned, hey, I saw you won or something. He asked him about the game yesterday. So not only was he, aware of who he is, he's plugged in. Is what the point of
He's a recruiter every single day of the week. Hey, let me pause just for a second before we get to the break. We'll get back to all this. Weicker Realtors, the Griffin Company. They've been my partners multiple times, buying, selling homes. They guided me through it initially when I had no earthly idea what was going on. And as the process grew, as my life changed, and as my needs changed, they listened to everything I had to say. I'm not a complicated guy, and fortunately, they've been able to guide me through everything I needed to be guided through. But it has been an eye-opening partnership for me, and I have a real appreciation for what a professional real estate agent does as a result of my relationship with them. And whether you're a buyer or a seller, there's going to be an open line of communication. You're going to deal with the best trained real estate agent in the business, somebody who understands the market, someone who makes sense of it all, and ultimately someone who's going to get you from contract to close. Now, they're in Northwest Arkansas, Washington and Benton counties, Fort Smith, Branson. You can always log on to WeicherGriffin.com.
Tell you what else was great, and Chuck, you mentioned the perceived nervousness from a lot of people in attendance last night. I thought it went off without a hitch. Now, maybe behind the scenes it wasn't, but at least from my vantage point, it looked great. I got a kick not only of the chicken fried that was played last night when they introed John Tyson. They talked about him. Did y'all see the picture of Matt Jones, who's the Kentucky Sports Radio host, and evidently Tyson sent them a care package?
I saw that.
Thanking them for their coach, which I thought was pretty entertaining. So Arkansas, again, having some fun with this hire, not only from a national perspective, but at Kentucky's expense too. So still plenty to discuss. We got our Hog update coming up. Going to hear more from not just John Calipari, also talk a little more baseball. And the Masters is underway, right? Because they just did the
They teed off. Yeah, they're probably if not. I know that. Here's the thing: the weather there was very
that's an
very
issue.
sketchy. So I mean that
storms reportedly going to happen today. Unfortunately,
they were wondering whether they'd be able to go on time. We'll look into that and get to the Masters scoreboard as it unfolds here throughout the next couple of days as well. Hey, a quick word for my friends at Gaston's White River Resort, my favorite place to kick back and unwind. I don't know if Coach Cal loves to trout fish, but we got to introduce him to really one of the other treasures in our state, and that's trout fishing in the White River. Beautiful part of our state, and if you've not been there before but you've heard us talk about it, this summer should be the year you get there. 870-431-5202 is the number to call their reservation desk. They'll set you up in a private cabin or lodge, get you a guided fishing trip for a half day or a full day. They got a wonderful restaurant. They got a brand new pool, so the entire family can enjoy the grounds at Gaston's. Even if fishing's not your thing, there's something for everyone to do. I like being there and just watching the planes come and go. They've got their own airstrip on site, and that's kind of neat to see helicopters and planes and stuff land and take off. So everyone will enjoy a trip to Gaston's. Go to gastons.com, see more about what I'm talking about, then call 870-431-5202 and book your reservation. Gaston's White River Resort, a first-class time every time.
Listen to every Razorback football game this season right here and hitthatline.com.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline is the #1 source for all your sports betting this season and every season. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends all at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. The fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. Go to betonline.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure you use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. Bet online, where the game starts.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yeah.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Thanks for watching us here on ESPN Arkansas. Download the brand new Hit That Line Now app in the Apple and Google Play stores. ESPN Arkansas, more than just radio stations. Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel,
it's the players running to the A. Hog hats. It's more than 70,000 fans calling Woo Pig Suey.
Yes, sir.
Guys, I've got just one thing I want to say to you. Touchdown, Arkansas!
This is your Hog Update on the Morning Rush. Brought to you by Mr. Sparky. Need a licensed electrician to service your home? For one of their local pros, call 888-8-SPARKY.
All right, so we got Cal's salary, and it's $7 million a year. He's got a signing bonus of $1 million. He's got a yearly retention bonus of $500 again. A lot of bonuses in the NCAA tournament, and he gets the typical blessings, athletic club membership. His buyout is $6 million. So there were reports out there prior to this happening, but guys, we got the official contract out there as of yesterday.
You take the sign-on bonus of the $1 million, and then the retention bonus, and then before any of the performance bonuses, it's essentially $7.7 million a year.
Basically, that's what it's chalked up to. That's the salary side of things. In terms of Cal being on campus now, it was coined by Sam Pittman as a Grand Slam hire. Here's what your head football coach had to say about the hiring of Cal.
Well, I live in Arkansas, so it'd kind of be hard not to. But I believe in Hunter Yurchek. He'll find the best guy, I guess, according to y'all and everybody. We found the guy, so I don't know him well, but if he's a coach, we probably hit pretty good home run, maybe Grand Slam.
Sounds like that Sam Pittman is all for. They got a chance to meet for the first time last night, as did Dave Van Horn and the rest of that staff. Chuck, it was kind of funny. I think Hunter was like, all right, Cal, we're going to do this. And he's like, nah, I want to meet the coaches just real quick before I move on from that.
Well, again, he was recruiting. I mean, he's in a constant state of recruitment, and that's part of it too. I think coaches, though, do have an appreciation for what the others do. And here's the thing that I think that people have to realize too is that Sam Pittman, and we talked about it a minute ago, he's in the middle of spring practice right now.
Mm-hmm.
He got business to tend to. Dave Van Horn had a game earlier yesterday. They're leaving for Alabama today or tomorrow. Today, I guess. Start tomorrow. Courtney Deifel, she's in the middle of a season. You got gymnastics getting ready to go to the NCAA championship. So I mean, you've got coaches that are right in the middle of what they're doing. They're in their make or break part of the season. So yes, I think that all of them, like everyone who's in Arkansas, is excited about what's happening right now. But I just have to be honest. I don't think Dave Van Horn went home last night and spent his evening thinking about John Calipari. I bet he went home thinking about Alabama.
Yeah, thinking about how he's going to have to beat him. You mentioned kind of what had to happen last night, and for John Calipari, who had probably 100 things he had to do during the course of yesterday, one of the things that he made sure to do was talk to Nolan Richardson, who he had conversations with yesterday morning. Here's what he said in regards to what Nolan had to tell him, which he was really fond of.
Cal's always had.
Let's do the other one.
Hunter, and I asked John, may have asked somebody else, what did Coach Richardson say about me being hired? What he said was a great hire because he cares about kids. Made my day. Made my day. And then I sent him the poster, and then I called him. He sounds great.
I think Cal's 2 or 3-0 against Nolan Richardson with Arkansas. I know UMass in 96, UMass in 94 in that Hall of Fame game, but he was adamant that opinion was valuable to him as the new Arkansas head basketball coach.
I'm not sure that poster is going to be very valuable to Nolan. I don't think Nolan's going to put something commemorating a loss, Chuck, in a prominent place. I just don't think that's going to mean a lot to Nolan.
You might be right about that.
Because he lost. Now, if he'd won the game, different, but he didn't.
Yeah, you might be right about that part. But look, it's important to understand the history. And the one thing that I do think just is very evident about Coach Calipari is, beyond all the showbiz and the personality, is a basketball coach who really has a respect for the game and a love for the game and has been a good steward of the game. And I think the importance, or when he spoke about the importance of Coach Richardson's approval, so to speak, I think he was sincere in that respect. I don't think there was an ounce of show there. I think he meant that to the core.
Last thing here, Arkansas baseball wins 8-2. That's no surprise. They are on fire right now, as Peyton Stovall is, who is leading the team in batting average, 4 for 4 yesterday.
Cushing throws. Stovall pops it up. Short center field, the shortstop Hardy racing out. In from center field, Orduno, and that's in the Bermuda Triangle. It drops in. Base hit, scores Lovich from third for a 6-2 lead.
Surprise was they got the game in. That the rain didn't halt that game. So that was the good part, is they were able to play the game, Chuck.
Yeah, smart. San Jose made a long trip here. They made a long trip. They didn't come here to watch it rain, and frankly, Arkansas is not paying them a guarantee to come here and watch it rain. So they wanted to get that game in. They needed to get it in, and I'm glad they were able to.
All right, that's your Hog Update this morning, and brought to you by our friends at Mr. Sparky.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
So you mentioned the weather. Unfortunately, they're having to deal with the weather in Augusta, Georgia today, as that will get going. And I saw the report that was going to happen. It's always a bummer when you have a scheduled golf tournament and have to deal with that. So it sounds like that's going to be an issue for today's start of the event.
Yeah, 9:30 our time, 9:30 Central is when the first golfers will tee off. So it's just part of golf. And this time of year in Georgia, they do have rain, and they've got a variety of weather. But it looks like the weekend there, Chuck, is going to be great. And I know for those that enjoy the game of golf, and for those that even don't like it as much, Masters weekend is always a highlight of the year.
Yeah, for a lot of people, it's the best weekend. There's golf's in a bit of a spot right now. It's going to be. I'll be interested to see what the numbers are for this weekend.
All right, back to more Coach Cal conversation coming up. All of our coverage of Arkansas basketball is presented by the Limbird Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For all of your real estate needs, go to LimbirdTeam.com. And by Maverick Male Medical, your wellness and aesthetic center for men in Northwest Arkansas. Look better, live better, love better. Visit more at MaverickMaleMedical.com.
So Miss Lisa has called in. We're going to wait till hour number 3 to get to her. And you got to think about this question, too, as we continue on here on this Too Stupid Thursday. If you weren't bought in on Johnny Calipari, as he dubbed himself last night, did he sway you? Did he convince you? Or do you still have to wait and see what he does in recruiting? And, of course, the first upcoming game in October. We'll answer that question in hour number 3 coming up on the Morning Rush.
Spring camping season is here. Don't miss the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th at 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers behind Newt. Sponsored by two of the state's largest RV dealers, Wheels RV and Moix RV, with brands you love like Grand Design, Jayco, Brinkley, Flagstaff, Coachman Catalina, Vibe, and Winnebago. On-site financing available, plus food trucks, a variety of vendors, and downtowns for the kids. Make plans to attend the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th, 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway, Rogers.
WT Equipment is your home for New Holland ag and construction equipment, sales, parts, and service. For high horsepower row crop tractors and combines, utility tractors and hay equipment, compact track loaders, and mini excavators. WT Equipment has it all. Stop by one of their 8 locations to explore the value of New Holland tractors and see why New Holland hay equipment and twin rotor combines are second to none in harvesting ability. Need to upgrade your construction equipment fleet? Give WT Equipment a call. Come by a store or check out their website, WTEquip.com.
Tommy Craft for the Fitzman. If you've always wanted powered automatic gates at your home or business, but you didn't know who to call, let me tell you about the Fitzman. 479-782-3936. The Fitzman does it all. Custom wrought iron installations, automatic gates, even controlled access systems, and lots more. Ask about 18-month, same as cash financing with approved credit. For your custom fence and gate needs, call the Fitzman. 479-782-3936. The Fitzman. He ain't afraid of no work.
Hey, are you having a hard time dealing with high-interest credit card debt? It's normal, and a SoFi personal loan could help you save thousands by consolidating your DEBT to one low fixed monthly payment. You could get $5,000 to $100,000 as soon as the same day you sign, with no fees required. It only takes 60 seconds to view your rate, and it won't affect your credit score. View your rate at SoFi.com/paid-off. Loans originated by SoFi Bank N.A. Member FDIC. Terms and conditions at SoFi.com/paid-off. NMLS 696891.
Ty, that's the million-dollar question.
This is the Morning Rush.
Clogs? Nobody wants a clog. Westart Plumbing knows that clogs are a serious issue. They can signal that bigger problems are on the way. So contact Westart Plumbing while the problem is small. Slow shower and sink drain, gurgling toilets, and outside cleanouts making a mess? Call 479-646-5151 today. Westart Plumbing and expert drain cleaning since 1993. They keep you flowing. If you have slow drains or high water bills, call Westart Plumbing and expert drain cleaning service. 646-5151.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive, or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leak-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South C Road, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Hi, this is Melissa, owner of True Grit Running Company. Now that the weather has cooled down, it is the perfect time to get a jump start on those New Year's resolutions. We'll help you start your running journey off right with shoes handpicked just for you, based on how you run. Follow us on Facebook to learn more about our group runs for people of all paces, where we can give you advice and support on your running journey. Let us help you find your True Grit fit at True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
You will never find a boring old burger at Art's Barbecue and Burgers in Fort Smith. Try the Wild West Burger, topped with a hot link, jalapenos, and Art's hot sauce. The Brisket Burger, with tender brisket and caramelized onions on top of their ham-patted burger. Or the famous Art Attack, with house bacon, smoked ham, an onion ring, and a fried egg. There are 10 different burgers to choose from, and they're all $1 off every Saturday. Art's Barbecue Burgers and more. Rogers Avenue, next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
Insurance company throwing you a curveball? Are they crowding the plate and not offering you a fair settlement? If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need an experienced attorney to fight for you. I'm Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Licensed in Arkansas and Oklahoma, no win, no fee. Call Mock Legal Solutions today for your free consultation. 479-769-1505. Real advice, reasonable price.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, partly to mostly sunny sky. Our high temperatures this afternoon right around the mid to upper 60s. Winds quite strong, 25 to near 40 miles per hour. Mainly clear sky tonight, and overnight low in the low to mid 40s. Friday, sunny skies, our high 70 to 75. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Come Get You Some, Arkansas's premier off-road superstore. Call 782-MUD today. You're listening to The Morning Rush, live from the Busch Light Studios on ESPN 95.3, KERX Paris, Fort Smith. This hour of The Morning Rush is brought to you by Farm Credit. From farms to land, livestock, equipment, and more, Farm Credit finances it all. Learn more at myaglender.com.
Bud Walton Arena, where it is about as loud as a building could get. You're not entertained. The loudest arena to start a game I've ever been in.
This is a hard place. You don't come here expecting to win. Let me tell you that.
The name, the brand, the identity that he brings to a program that has a storied, rich tradition, an outstanding fan base in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Big recruits will follow and winning will follow. John Calipari gets to go to a proud program with Final Four national championship pedigree. That's a program that is built to win. Arkansas needed an adrenaline jolt. John Calipari is going to give them.
Kentucky's the bluest of blue. There's only a few schools like that, and Arkansas is one of them.
Hey, this is Darren McFadden. You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Live from the Busch Light Studios. Heard all across ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com.
Hit that line.
This is The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
You're in need of a serious attitude adjustment, young man. You better get your priorities straight.
Produced by Kristen Johnston.
In spite of the juvenile snickers of some, this is a serious matter.
Call or text The Morning Rush on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. With 6 locations in Springdale and Bentonville, a good deal is never too far away.
You don't need to wear a ball cap, man. You need to let those golden locks flow.
So John, a.k.a. Johnny Calipari, took the sports world by storm yesterday. By the moment he arrived in Drinkfield, you had signage draped across the campus at Arkansas, at Baum-Walker Stadium, at Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium, at Bud Walton Arena. It was the #1 story, not just in college athletics, but in athletics in the United States. Let's go capitalize on that. Let's go get some guys. Let's plug away some guys from Lexington. Let's go get some guys out of the portal. Let's go get some players that maybe have signed their national letters of intent with the Wildcats, but are following John Calipari instead. It's hour number 3 of the Morning Rush here on a Too Stupid Thursday. I think that we heard from some listeners that were initially skeptical about this hire, but have changed their minds since last night. Some of you have not. Some of you are still waiting and seeing, which is perfectly understandable. And we'll get into that as well as some other things in hour number 3.
You know what? Uncorked every day from Tuesday through Friday during the week, and then their hours on Saturday are 4 to 6. They have happy hour for you. Stop by during the week. They have the Uncorked wings, which are great. They have their black-eyed pea hummus. They've got the nachos. They've got a variety of stuff, including their fried deviled eggs. And you think, fried deviled eggs, I'm telling you, if you ever try these things, you will be hooked. And bar specials as well during happy hour. So don't miss it. $2 off their 16-ounce draft beers, $2 off house wines, and 10% off with their wine machines as well. So check it all out. Happy hour Great time to unwind your day. Great time to sit back and talk about Coach Cal and Arkansas basketball, talk about this baseball team. And no one has a bigger screen up over the bar to watch games when they're on as well than at Uncorked. Uncorked is on Phoenix Avenue in Fort Smith, right next door to Sodi's. It's at Phoenix and Lee Avenue and that interchange or that exit off of I-540. It's Uncorked. Find them online. Make reservations for this weekend at uncorkthefort.com.
This hour of Chuck Barrett on the Morning Rush is presented by Mach 1 Financial. Mach 1 Financial Group, LLC is an SEC-registered investment advisor located in Bentonville, Arkansas. For full disclosures, visit mach1financial.com/disclosures.
All right, let's ask our callers first on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. We'll start with Brent in Searcy. Brent, were you sold by John Calipari's introduction last night?
I am 100% sold by his introduction last night, and his just the way he talked about the state of Arkansas, and just that he was raised a common man, living Friday to Friday on a paycheck. But I have got to give kudos to the king of Q&A, Chuck Barrett, because I have sat in that chair when Chuck Barrett is firing it. Q&A, question and answers. And Chuck is very, very good and a little bit intimidating. I'm not going to lie to you. To me, he was, but probably not to John Calipari.
No, I don't think he was intimidated. I'll tell you a funny story about how that worked last night. We were getting ready for all this, and I don't think I'm divulging anything. You know, I'll go back to what I said a little bit earlier. Everybody was nervous. Everybody wanted to make it just right, and I think there'd probably been a meeting or two about the questions that we were going to go over in the Q&A, and they'd made out the cards and everything, and I had them there in my hand, and we were kind of going over how it was going to go, and he had a pen and a piece of paper, and he just jotted down 5 things, and he said, ask me that, and I'll go with it. And so he gets all the credit for that. I just brought up the things he wrote down on a sheet of paper, if you want to know the truth.
And he went to work. I mean, he had some long expanded
He did. He
answers.
went to work.
He knew what he wanted to say.
Yeah, and he said it well.
What about Miss Lisa? She's here on the McLarty Daniel Hotline as well. Miss Lisa, are you bought into the new tenure of Razorback basketball?
Oh, my goodness. I come bearing gifts of forgiveness for my rant on Monday. I sat here in my chair. I wanted to go, and we're coming this weekend for the spring game. So my husband said, no, we'll go, like we're scheduled to go. I cried. Listen, it takes a lot of stuff. My grandkids are great-grandkids, but I sat here and cried like a baby because I can see a one shining moment coming up. Yes, I can. I sure can. But, Chuck, you did a great job. Not a good job, a great job.
Well, thank you.
And I was nervous for you. But he had me so relaxed, Coach Cal. I mean, I thought this guy, who a week ago I couldn't stand, I'd scrub his bathroom floors. Now, I just fell in love with him. And he does, I know Kentucky fans, a lot of them loved him and didn't want to see him go, and I don't really care. He's our coach now. But after it was all over, I must admit, this was my first thought. What would Coach Musselman think about all this?
Well, he did have some. That's a good question, Lisa. We appreciate your call. He did have some comments talking about Arkansas basketball, saying it is where their program right now, or you get Cal. Privately, he's blowing gaskets. And he'll never say that publicly, but I bet he is as irate as there is out there. And think about the roller coaster of emotions that you've been to as a fan, right? So the guy that supposedly loved your program and loved the state and loved being here elected to go to a program that's not even on the same near the same stratosphere as you are in terms of basketball. There's home, there's other aspects to it, but that's what he ultimately decided. So you go on that roller coaster ride. Then you're the idea that Chris Beard's going to be your head coach. It's basically a done deal, whether right or wrong. That was the public perception. And then he says he's staying at Oxford. So you're in turmoil. You're in despair. You're in a pit of misery. Then all of a sudden, you hear a rumor or two that, hey, Cal might be interested. Then it ramps up a little bit. And then it's actually happening right now. I mean, you talk about an emotional roller coaster. That is what's gone down in the last 2 weeks for Arkansas Ridgeback basketball fans.
Oh, there's no doubt. And I thought last night, I think, and I'll go back to what I said a little bit earlier, and this is, I think this is a coach or a public figure, or in this case a speaker, having a very good sense for what his audience needed to hear. I think it would be accurate to say that, we felt jilted a week ago, and I've used the collective we as a fan base. And Cal made everything okay last night.
Mm-hmm.
He made everything okay.
Bill from Northeast Arkansas texting in on the McLarty Daniel hotline. It got him emotional. He had tears in his eyes watching what he saw last night. So let's be clear. Nothing has happened yet other than the fact that he's been hired and you've got attention. There's a lot of work to be done. And Cal was open about that. He's got a lot of work to do and it's not there. But there is, an impact that he has made already just being the head coach.
Absolutely. You're exactly right. There's been an immediate impact because, the essence of a great communicator is knowing who you're talking to and talking to them as opposed to at them. And he is instinctive in that respect. He finds common ground. He did it over and over and over again last night. I'm glad he's on our side now.
Yeah, and I've said a lot about him, but let's actually hear from him. Here's what he said about, hey, just give me time. Let me get this thing together.
This you can tell I'm excited. The fans seem to be excited. I have to go down. I don't have a team. Please, let me get stuff together.
Yeah.
Then we'll all be excited.
He doesn't have a team. He kind of elaborated on that, too.
I just met with the team. There were 3 guys in there. And they were in the portal.
I want to know who those 3 guys were.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I hear him say that. My immediate reaction was, is it Caleb Battle? Is it Tremont Mark? Is Lawson Blake included in those 3? I mean, who are those 3 guys? He didn't elaborate on that information, but that's what I want to know. Who are those 3 guys that are potentially thinking about coming in? Does he have interest in keeping them in Fayetteville, too?
And were the ones that are still on campus that weren't in the room, is that an indication they're not interested in returning? Because they can pull their names out of the portal.
Mm-hmm.
But I find, that was an interesting comment. And, Chuck, I would like to know the other side of that.
Well, and I think over the coming days, we're going to get a lot of answers to all these questions. As I said a little bit earlier, I don't think we're going to have a final composition of the roster inside 2 or 3 weeks. But I don't think it's going to take more than 2 or 3 days for us to see the immediate impact that John Calipari has on recruiting. And guys, if you really look back, and I know people focus on the here and now, and sometimes we do become prisoners of the moment, but look at the number of great players who have flocked to him over the years. I mean, they flock to him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to stop here. That's not going to stop.
And here's what I would add to that. While they were selective in the clips that they picked out in introducing John Calipari, they kept saying Cal. They weren't talking about Kentucky. I think this is what it's important to distinguish the two, because these guys that have signed with Kentucky, I think we're signing with Cal. Now, I could be proven wrong. Those guys could end up staying, but 2 of them, I believe, Knox and then not Quinter Lee, but the guy that's name's given with Q, their highest-rated prospect, have already, I believe, gotten out of their national letter of intent. So that is an important part of all this. It sounds like to me, or at least it looks like to me, that they were signing with Cal, not Kentucky, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, you sign with both, but Ty, you've got to remember too. I mean, you can't just focus on Kentucky. He did this at UMass.
Mm-hmm.
He did this at Memphis. Derrick Rose played for him at Memphis, for example. He's recruited NBA players everywhere he's been. And my point is that's not going to stop here.
Yeah.
He's done it everywhere he's been.
All right, let's talk to Sterling on the McLarty Daniel hotline. Sterling, what's up, man?
Guys, I couldn't be more excited. I'm one of those, I've never hated Cal. I hated Kentucky. You know, like the players signed with Kentucky because of Cal. I didn't like Cal because he was with Kentucky. You know, I didn't hate him at UMass until they played Arkansas. Then I didn't like him. I didn't hate him at Memphis until he stopped playing Arkansas and tried to stop our recruiting line to the Memphis area. So I have no problem with Cal. And I'm glad. I'm real glad he's on our side. And he hit all the points for me in the press conference. He was funny. He gave out the plan. Everything seemed to be solid. He's a Hall of Fame coach. I've always said this about Arkansas athletics and Arkansas jobs. It's a good job. It's a great job. But it takes a Hall of Fame coach to win big in the job. Nolan, Eddie, I even throw Burrows. I even throw Holtz in there with his time there. It takes a Hall of Famer, and we got DBH now, Norman Brown. It takes those type guys to win big. And we got one. And we got one already a Hall of Famer. We ain't waiting for him to become a Hall of Famer. He's not going to become a Hall of Famer at Arkansas. He is a Hall of Famer. It's akin to Saban. He went to Alabama in football.
I'll go back to the. Excuse me, Sterling. I'll go back to this stat from the other day. I mean, in the history of our program, we've been to 14 Sweet 16s. Cal's been to 15. I mean, his track record of success is remarkable.
And think about the impact, and we mentioned a little earlier, but just from a betting standpoint, Arkansas is top 15 betting-wise to win the national championship, and you got no one on the roster. Think about that. Because of one guy, Arkansas is top 15 in betting odds to win the national championship.
With no players.
This next year. With not a.
You got your money down, Ty? You got your money down?
I hammered it already, man. Come on.
Where's the Final Four next year? You got
San
your
Antonio,
reservations
Texas.
made?
Hey,
all right.
hey,
the
listen.
Riverwalk. Ty on the Riverwalk
Listen.
next April.
I would bet my life that if
God.
Arkansas makes the NCAA tournament next year, and I told Tommy this already, you know where one of the first and second round sites are, Chuck?
Where?
Lexington, Kentucky.
Is that right?
Lexington, Kentucky. They will put if Arkansas makes the NCAA tournament, they will put Cal and Arkansas in Lexington because it's must-see TV. Doug in Mountain Home texting in on the McLarty Daniel hotline. He just got on with us, and he said, if you aren't in love with Cal after the press conference, that means you're from a different fan base and you're just jealous based on what you watched last night. Robert in Fayetteville says, for me, it appears that Cal is relatable, as we've mentioned throughout the morning. It is the common man. I think the only thing that people were wondering about last night, and Sterling was mentioning this before we came on, is I think there was a little bit of a mishap with kind of the end of the presser because people were wondering about calling the Hogs and what happened there. I don't think it was out of like he wasn't going to do it. I think it was just kind of some confusion at the end.
Well, let me tell you what happened there. We did rehearse calling the Hogs. In fact, I think there's probably going to be a clip or two on, I don't know if it's Hogs Plus or the school's website, but I know we rehearsed it, and it was kind of funny. And but he was so anxious to talk to our coaches. And, you know, I actually think, and I know some were saying, well, he didn't want to call the Hogs. No, he was ready. I mean, he was ready. His wife, Ellen, we had dress rehearsal on calling the Hogs. But he was so anxious to meet the coaches. And I think just spontaneously, spur of the moment, he was recruiting, man. I mean, that's what he does. He engages people. I watched him do it for an hour before we walked out. I knew and had a hunch that once we got out there, whatever the format was subject to change.
Yes.
And he kind of changed it there at the end. But it was not. I can tell you from just 100% certainty. There was no desire on his part to avoid that. he wanted to go meet those coaches. He wanted to go meet those coaches, and that's where he went.
Well, and I know you led the hog call while he was doing that, but
well, it was really spontaneous.
Yeah.
That was the best thing about it. It was spontaneous. Everybody just, everybody just kind of took off, and away it went. And it was just a great night, great Razorback moment. Hey, one of the things that you hear me talking about a lot is the Market Moment podcast, and the thing that I think I like most about it, if you want to get right down to it, is how they take a lot of the national issues, they make them relatable to us locally. There's a lot of things going on out there right now. Lots of things affect consumer behavior, and David and all the guys at Mach 1 really they break it down, they make it understandable, and they do it every week. If you've not listened to the Market Moment podcast, you really need to do so. You can log on to market-moment.com. That's the place where you can hear it. Mach 1 Financial Group's an SEC-registered investment advisor. They're located in Rogers, Arkansas. And for full disclosures, you can visit mach1financial.com/disclosures.
Hey, want to remind our audience, we're going to be live at Wheels RV tomorrow. Chuck, you and I will be there. Ty, you're going to be off tomorrow, but we'll have a full day of getting ready for the red-white game. More thoughts on Coach Calipari, and we're going to be live at Wheels RV. They're getting ready for a big weekend with the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party. We'll be giving you all the details on that. It's going to be in Rogers, so come by and see us tomorrow morning at Wheels RV on Highway 412 west of Springdale.
Wes is in Fayetteville this morning on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. Wes, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Thanks for taking my call. A few things last night that really stood out to me. First off, to piggyback off what everyone has said, Chuck Barrett deserves all bit of his flowers, all bit of his credit for last night. Did an amazing job on the Q&A. But I think what we're getting with Cal, and as someone who experienced Cal while he was in Memphis, I think we're getting a more humble Cal. I think we're getting a more refined Cal. I think he knows what he wants. He obviously, based on his tenure, knows how to be successful anywhere he's been. But what do you guys think about a more humble Cal, maybe a different version, maybe a less of a lightning rod as far as what he does on the sideline?
I'm going to be honest. I think he's still going to be the same Cal on the sidelines. The humble aspect you're talking about is last 5 years they've had one NCAA tournament win, and he realizes if he does that the next 5 years in Fayetteville, it's going to be considered a failure based on what Arkansas paid to get him and what is expected of his tenure. So I wonder how he'll approach it, but I don't know in terms of how he acts, or conducting himself, if he changes his mentality there. I just wonder if his recruiting mentality has been humbled a little bit based on the lack of NCAA tournament success these last 5 years. That's what I wonder about.
I think we're getting a rejuvenated coach. I would, again, I think a lot about beyond last night, beyond just the next few weeks. I think he's a rejuvenated coach, and I think that's important.
All of our conversation about Coach Cal and the hopefully construction of a championship is presented by Limbird Real Estate Group. All of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley is in their reach. For all your real estate needs, go to LimbirdTeam.com. And by Maverick Male Medical, your wellness and aesthetic center for men. They're in Northwest Arkansas. Look better, live better, love better. Go to MaverickMaleMedical.com for details.
All right, we'll hear more from Calipari coming up in just a sec, and we'll also take more of your calls and texts on the McLarty Daniel Hotline.
Listen to that last segment, I promise you, it sounded like I walked into a barbershop and listened to two old men just go at it. That was great.
You're listening to The Morning Rush.
Spring camping season is here. Don't miss the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th at 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers behind Newt. Sponsored by two of the state's largest RV dealers, Wheels RV and Moix RV, with brands you love like Grand Design, Jayco, Brinkley, Blackstaff, Coachman Catalina, Vibe, and Winnebago. On-site financing available, plus food trucks, a variety of vendors, and downtowns for the kids. Make plans to attend the NWA RV Show and Outdoor Party April 13th and 14th, 5102 West Pauline Whitaker Parkway in Rogers.
Tommy Kraft for the Fence Man. If you've always wanted powered automatic gates at your home or business, but you didn't know who to call, let me tell you about the Fence Man. 479-782-3936. The Fence Man does it all. Custom wrought iron installations, automatic gates, even controlled access systems, and lots more. Ask about 18-month, same as cash financing with approved credit. For your custom fence and gate needs, call the Fence Man. 479-782-3936. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work.
On Saturday, April 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., NAFI and local law enforcement will host DEA's National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day at locations across the region. Take-Back Day offers free and anonymous disposal of unneeded medications at close to 5,000 local drop-off locations nationwide. Join us at Harrison City Hall, Boone County Sheriff Department, Mountain Home Police Department, or Tractor Supply and Mountain Home. For more information, contact Kyle Evett at 870-391-3367.
This is the Morning Rush.
Say goodbye! The Wave Rural Connect Shoal Creek Zone is open. Fast fiber internet, TV, and home phone available. This covers Midway, New Blaine, Scranton, Delaware, and other areas. Even if this isn't your zone, check your address. We might be available for you. Get your whole home solution. Internet, TV, and phone from a local provider. Go to signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the communities we serve.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics. Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Call your local Shelter agent, Chris Dooley, at 479-646-6792.
Get ready for an adrenaline-packed weekend as the University of Arkansas Portsmouth baseball team hits Crowder Field on the UAFS campus April 12th through the 14th. The Lions host Cameron University in an epic 4-game homestand. Kick off the excitement with the annual Teal Tailgate starting at noon on Friday, followed by first pitches at 1 o'clock daily and doubleheader action on Saturday. Admission is free. Visit UAFSLions.com for more details and run to the roar with your UAFS Lions.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South C Road, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
The best Tex-Mex and even better service is at Joe's Grill and Cantina in Fort Smith. Every Friday is Fajita Friday, featuring their charbroiled steak and chicken. It's tender, full of flavor, and comes with all the fixins. Saturdays are for endless enchiladas with Joe's homemade enchilada sauce and all the beef, chicken, or cheese enchiladas you can eat. Joe's Grill and Cantina. Great Tex-Mex, even better service. 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind you to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I would also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the homestead tax credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify. The homestead tax credit can save you up to $425 off of your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by Sebastian County Assessor and paid for by Amendment 79.
Husbands, sons, daughters, honor your wife or mother for Mother's Day at the inaugural Mystery at the Fort Legacy Ball, benefiting Heart to Heart Pregnancy and Family Care Center on May 11th at the U.S. Marshals Museum. Buy your tickets today for this 1940s mystery dinner, coupled with an exciting night of investigative entertainment and lively dancing with the band Who Shot JR. For more information, call 479-452-2260.
Looking for a change? For a limited time, we're offering up to a $15,000 hiring bonus and a $3,000 referral bonus for maintenance techs, including electricians and refrigeration techs. Ask a friend who works at Simmons for more information, and you can both win. Simmons offers vacation matching, a 401k plan, and premium health care for team members and their families through our care clinics at no additional cost. Learn more at workatsimmons.com or stop by the Fort Smith City Hiring Center at 4900 Rogers Avenue, Suite 103 in Fort Smith. Find out more about the $15,000 hiring bonus and start getting paid sooner with same-day hiring options. We look forward to seeing you.
your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3. You're listening to The Morning Rush with Ty Richardson, Tommy Kraft, and Chuck Barrett.
Coach, they've been waiting for you. Welcome.
I have never gotten that kind of greeting in this building. As a matter of fact, you were probably in the building when they threw me out before the game ended. 1-2. We did win that game, though, but they walked out, and you guys were throwing stuff at me then. I wasn't hearing any cheers.
So that was one of the fun sound bites from last night and Chuck's conversation with your new head basketball coach, John Calipari. He had a few other things to say that we will get to coming up shortly, and it seems like, based on the calls and texts that we've received on the McLarty Daniel hotline, that if you weren't initially bought in prior to 6 o'clock last night, sure has swayed you a little bit, sure has pushed you in the other direction. Maybe you're not entirely there, but you're darn near close.
Hey, now's the time to stop in and see our friends at WT Equipment. They got 9 locations to help you find the model you want and the best savings for you when it comes to New Holland equipment. You can find great deals on small compact tractors with front-end loaders. You can get mid-range tractors with hay tools that you need, or the big-size T7 Series tractors that can do everything around your farming operation. Step into the best cabs you'll find in the industry. Work all day in an environment where every comfort that you need for your operation comes naturally. Hurry into WT Equipment. Take home big savings as we get ready for hay and summer seasons. WT Equipment, online at WTEquip.com. WT Equipment, your partner in progress.
Marcus is in Fort Smith on the McLarty Daniel hotline. Marcus, were you swayed by Cal last night?
I'm never swayed by a hire within the first 48 hours. It's usually I want to see what it looks like, when I see what they're going to go out recruiting-wise. So, I mean, am I glad it was him over maybe the K-State guy? Yeah, because at least I know what Coach Cal brings. I'm a little apprehensive just because I've been an Arkansas fan my whole life, so I've seen these big hires that we think is going to be big hires, and they don't really turn out to what we really thought they were going to be, but, outside of like Nolan. But I'm just concerned that if it doesn't work out, it's great to say, he's Coach Cal, he's going to bring all this, but what if he doesn't? Does that say more about Coach Cal, or does that say more about the state of Arkansas athletics and what the perception is to recruits about coming here if he doesn't work out
So
here?
real quick, when you say don't work out, what does that mean? In your vantage point, what does that mean, don't work out, Marcus?
Well, based on everything that I know and what I've been hearing people say, and even you guys talking about the pedigree, the idea, their expectation of Arkansas, especially Arkansas basketball, my thing is he's got a 5-year deal, if I'm not mistaken. If we're based on what I'm hearing and who he is, I mean, if we don't exceed what Musk did in his few years, to me that's a failure. If we don't exceed that, at least.
So a Final Four.
Yeah, a Final Four or even a championship by the time he leaves.
Okay.
If that's, I'm like, I mean, and if it digresses, if we don't even, if we're barely making the tournament, or he basically repeats what he did in Kentucky the last couple of years, again, does that say more about him, or does that say something about the state or the perception of Arkansas athletics, specifically basketball, well, honestly, even football too? What is their perception to recruits and transfers out there about coming here?
Or, Marcus, thanks for the call. Does it say more about where the transition of the sport is going? I mean, we saw North Carolina a year ago, but this year it's Purdue who's back in the championship game for the first time since, 64 or whatever it was. UConn repeats, but we're not, the traditional blue bloods of Kentucky, Kansas, North Carolina, Duke, they weren't there, and then they were in the run. I think it also says something about the transition we have in the sport, Chuck.
I think we're 24 hours into this. Let's don't look for the dark cloud yet.
Yeah.
I mean, let's enjoy the sunshine for a little bit. Let's see how this thing develops. We gotta move beyond this attitude of what are we gonna do when it fails.
Yeah.
We gotta get past that.
Here's what I would say, Marcus. I I don't begrudge you for taking a measured approach because I'm still a little
Oh,
apprehensive.
I don't either, but let's not look for the dark cloud
Well,
24 hours in.
here's what's important in all this, and you kind of alluded to it, hadn't worked out. Nothing's come close to this hire. I mean, you hired a future Hall of Famer in Dave Van Horn, but he was not a Hall of Famer in Nebraska. You hired a future Hall of Famer in Frank Broyles, but he was not that in Missouri. You hired a future Hall of Famer in John McDonald, but he was not at that at Greenland High School. I mean, there's all these Hall of Fame, Nolan Richardson, same way. There's all these Hall of Fame coaches you've had on your campus, but they weren't that at the time. That's the whole difference with Cal and anyone else on any platform at Arkansas Athletics in the history of your programs. That's the difference in the separator when it comes to this hiring.
And I think Marcus was probably like some last night. They weren't going to believe John Calipari was the coach until Coach Calipari walked out on that stage. I mean, we have, as a fan base, been jilted before. We've heard names, and it doesn't work out. Hell, we went through Dana Altman, who took the job and left. I mean, I don't blame people for really not even buying in and believing until he was on stage with you last night, Chuck.
Oh, I think a lot of people, again, I think you're right. It's one of those things that, hey, I'll believe it when I see it. I think a lot of people felt that way.
Yeah, and there's, probably good reason to be a skeptic. We'll have more coming up on the Give Me the Hogs Chuck podcast. You'll have another edition of that, tomorrow?
Today,
another edition out today. All right, the Inn at the Mill. That's the place to stay. I bet you a lot of people are planning stays this fall to come up for basketball and football games. The Inn at the Mill is the place we always go. Big, oversized rooms, big, spacious suites, fast internet, great breakfast to start the day, friendly staff that can take care of you with the personal touch on every need you might have. 479-443-1800. 443-1800, or look online at inatthemill.com.
All right, when we return on the Morning Rush, SEC updates, some SEC baseball games this weekend. We're going to hear more from John Calipari and then also talk about what's going on at Augusta, Georgia, as the Masters is going to be underway shortly. Stay with us. Final segment, Too Stupid Thursday, is next.
Find us on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, 97.1 in Camden and South Arkansas, and everywhere on hitthatline.com.
APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group has immediate openings in the Northwest Arkansas area. If you're a licensed CDL driver, heavy equipment operator, electrician, diesel mechanic, have paving or concrete labor experience, or experience in a quarry, apply today at jobs.crh.com. APAC offers top pay, a sign-on bonus, benefits including insurance, retirement, and profit sharing. Apply online today at jobs.crh.com. APAC Arcola and Standard Materials Group is an equal opportunity employer.
On Saturday, April 27th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., NAFI and local law enforcement will host DEA's National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day at locations across the region. Take-Back Day offers free and anonymous disposal of unneeded medications at close to 5,000 local drop-off locations nationwide. Join us at Harrison City Hall, Boone County Sheriff Department, Mountain Home Police Department, or Tractor Supply in Mountain Home. For more information, contact Kyle Evett at 870-391-3367.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
This is the Morning Rush.
All the road hogs have the hog calls and the tailgate ready to roll.
Engagement season is in full swing, and Diamond Center wants to be part of your story. For the entire month of April, we're offering 5 years of 0% interest on purchases. That's right, 5 years, 60 months, 0 interest financing. There has never been a better time to pick out the perfect engagement ring and pop the question. Let Diamond Center help you begin this next step of your journey together with 5 years of 0 interest financing for the entire month of April on all custom design and in-stock pieces of jewelry. Diamond Center, a legacy of love.
Hi folks, Larry Rath here for Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where it's spring cleaning time. The lot is blooming with fresh road-ready certified inventory and weekly specials that could save you up to $4,000. If you're keeping the car you have, let us take care of it for you in the Meineke Car Care Center with half-off brakes and buy 3 get 1 free on all tires. Better yet, trade today and save up to $4,000 during spring cleaning at Rath Auto Resources and the Meineke Car Care Center, where all the happiest drivers are rolling with Rath. Just north of Phoenix on Towson, Fort Smith.
Barrels and Brews Bottle Shop at the Hub in Chaffee Crossing has everything you need for your favorite activities. Our knowledgeable staff will be glad to help you with the current specials and our new arrivals of must-have bourbons and whiskeys. Hit the cooler for some of the coldest beer in town or choose from our large selection of amazing wines. Order online or call ahead Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. at the Hub in Chaffee Crossing. Barrels and Brews, voted best of the best in Fort Smith. It will put a smile on your face.
Hi, this is Melissa with True Grit Running Company. Is someone special to you missing out on life because of foot pain? Let's face it, if your feet hurt, you don't want to go anywhere. Give the gift of freedom. Check out our store for all kinds of options to benefit your special someone. We have perfect gifts for those suffering from a variety of foot issues, such as plantar fasciitis, bunions, tendonitis, diabetes care, neuropathy, or just tired and achy feet. Visit us today at True Grit Running Company, 6808 Rogers Avenue, Suite B, behind Chick-fil-A.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's #1 mobile app for placing sports wagers.
In Arkansas, 7 out of every $10 placed on a sporting bet app is with Bet Saracen, because Bet Saracen offers more ways to win and more ways to get paid, and faster. Find your winners on Bet Saracen and look for my R prop bet specials. I pick them and you win them.
Bet Saracen is Arkansas's favorite sports wagering app.
Gambling problem? Call 800-522-4700.
When it's time for breakfast, Calico County is making it all from scratch. Yet the dedicated early morning crew at Calico are cooking up and serving buttermilk pancakes, moist biscuits, rich waffles, country fried potatoes, 3 types of gravy, and of course their famous cinnamon rolls and much more. They serve all of this and a lot more 7 days a week until 11 a.m. Stop in, call ahead, or get it to go. Or just come by and pick up a dozen cinnamon rolls for the office. For breakfast, lunch, dinner, or catering, roll on into Calico County. They're home cooking good. Calico County, just off Rogers Avenue behind Randall Ford.
Metal Mart offers high-quality prefabricated metal buildings, metal roofing, custom trim shop, carports, and more. They strive to be a company where contractors as well as do-it-yourselfers are welcome. Metal Mart assists you in calculating the materials needed to complete your project, all at a rate you can afford. Stop by 7320 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith or call 648-3342. You can also catch them online at metalmarts.com. Metal Mart, the right material for the right price.
Spring is just around the corner, and Jelco Outdoors is ready with all of your spring fishing gear. Crappie, bass, catfish, Jelco has a great selection of rods, reels, and baits to help you fill that stringer. Spring turkey supplies are rolling in daily, and the firearms department is stocked up with ammo for outdoor shooting. Spring is almost here, so get outdoors and enjoy the spring season. Stop by Jelco Outdoors, 4600 South Zero in Fort Smith, for all your outdoor gear. Think spring, think Jelco Outdoors.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Except we've got SEC bias. Deal with it. They're the best.
In the SEC, it just means more.
I know one thing. The SEC just got a little tougher.
This is your SEC update on the Morning Rush. Brought to you by Burton Pools and Spas. Trusted pool experts and your source for backyard fun. Locations in Fort Smith, Springdale, and always online at burtonpools.com.
The Arkansas Razorback baseball team is back in action, this time on the road, away from Baum-Walker Stadium in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Well, they'll take on a top 25 Crimson Tide squad starting tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Other SEC games this weekend include LSU against Tennessee and Knoxville, the Egg Bowl in baseball, Vandy on the road at College Station, Kentucky goes to Auburn, South Carolina at Florida, and then Missouri against Georgia. Some of the games for the weekend, I think you got 2 baseball games tonight, Missouri, Georgia, and then Kentucky at Auburn, I believe, are the ones that are on tonight. But that is your SEC baseball schedule this weekend. Arkansas, again, got some tough road series coming up. You got a Lexington, you got a College Station, and you played some teams at Baum-Walker, 11-1 in the SEC so far. You just want a series win. If you can get a series win, You don't have to worry about 3-0. Just get a series win in Tuscaloosa.
That'd be awesome. And we all need to understand that if they went 1-3, or I don't see this team getting swept, but it's not the end of the world. It's not going to dramatically change kind of where you're at in this conference and may knock you off the number one pedestal. I'm okay with that. I'm not rooting for the team to lose, don't hear me wrong, but we just need to understand it's not going to be the end of the world when the point comes you have a bad weekend. And they've got some very challenging road series ahead of them. They got Alabama this weekend, they got Kentucky coming up, and they've got a road trip to College Station that are all going to be challenges. Just winning those series will be well worth celebrating.
John Calipari has the challenge of recruiting to Arkansas without any players being here. Evidently, he met with 3 guys. Don't know the identities of those individuals, but trying to deal with that. Now, I was listening to a CBS recruiting guru discuss the potential impact of John Calipari landing in Fayetteville. Here is what he said in regards to those guys maybe following him to Bud Walton.
But I would expect pretty much all of these guys to reopen their recruitment. Travis Perry, who is a Kentucky native, is maybe the one who would be most likely to stay and see what the next coach has to say. But we don't have anything official yet. But the vast majority of these guys, this is what fans need to understand. These players don't commit to universities. I don't care what the athletic department says. They don't commit to universities as much as they do commit to coaches. These guys committed to John Calipari. They committed to his track record of making pros. And if we're to believe that now he has more resources at his disposal from an NIL standpoint, there's not going to be much preventing them from following him to Arkansas. So it's going to be really interesting to watch.
According to reports, John Calipari met with the Waldens and the Tysons, the Hunts, and some other prominent boosters for Arkansas last night discussing NIL. Hunter Yurchek made reference to it in the press conference yesterday. I tend to agree with Adam Finkelstein that there will be some players that fall Cal. Even Big Z, you don't know how to say his last name, but even Big Z posted about Cal yesterday.
So timing was perfect because I can't imagine, no matter how many zeros are ahead of the comma for them compared to the rest of us in the world, they had to be energized. If you have emotion at all about what goes on here with Razorback Athletics, you were fired up after that introduction last night. So perfect time to strike while the iron is hot with all the big names and the big wigs to see if, hey, will you get on board? And listen, it's easy to follow the lead of someone like Warren Stevens and John Tyson. And, he was the conduit or the connection to get Coach Cal here. Now we can't give $1 million a year. We can't give $2 million a year, but you get those guys involved. You get the fans to maybe get on board with this Edge Fund, and collectively we all put $2 or $3 million towards it. We'll be more than competitive. Now we got to figure out how to make it work in basketball and replicate it for football at some point in the future.
And that is your SEC update, brought to you by our friends at Burton Pools and Spas.
Hey, they're celebrating their 46th anniversary. I mean, just think about that. 46 years in business. That's hard to replicate as well. And Burton Pools and Spas has incredible deals on in-ground, above-ground, and semi-in-ground pools during this 46th anniversary sale. Save up to $12,000 and get construction starting in May on their great selection of in-ground pools, Doughboy above-ground pools, and get $5,000 off Doughboy semi-in-ground pools as well. They also have hot tubs during the sale starting at just $39.99. Hey, celebrate their 46th anniversary and pocket big savings at Burton Pools and Spas in Springdale and in Fort Smith. They do more than just build pools. They build long-term relationships. Find them online at burtonpools.com.
Do want to congratulate, hadn't done this just yet, but Nighthawk National Park College men's college basketball coach Dylan Hargrove, who we had on the show a few weeks ago, who just was named the National Junior Collegiate Athletic Association Division II Men's Basketball Coach of the Year, won that national championship. So congrats, Coach. We appreciate you joining us a few weeks ago, and well-deserved award for a program that I believe, if I remember, I was at 2017. I remember I looked that up, but I think it was 2017 when they started.
Not him getting there. They started the program then.
I think he got there in 2019 as an assistant and then took over as head coach a few years later.
Whoever was there in 17 had the same situation Calipari's in.
Yes.
No players.
No players.
Met with the team. It didn't take long.
Yeah. I've got this story that I do want to mention. Then we'll come back to Cal. But have you seen the thing going on with the Kansas City Chiefs and the mayor and the Hunt family and what's not
I've
our Hunt family?
No, yeah, the Hunt, Lamar Hunt's Dallas-based owners of the Chiefs for a long time. I've treetopped a little bit of it. Yeah.
So
But Lamar was his dad,
Yes,
the founder of the Chiefs.
Correct. So the Chiefs president, Mark Donovan, has talked about this openly, that they could leave Kansas City, them and the Royals, if they're not getting what they want from the taxpayers around the Arrowhead Stadium, that complex, to rebuild and renovate. I can't remember if it was renovate or rebuild the stadium, and that did not pass. So it sounds like the Chiefs organization is threatening to move back to Dallas, where the Hunts own FC Dallas, the soccer program. I think their son, I can't remember his name, but was a part of that organization, played college ball at SMU or something. That's where they, I believe, live. But can you imagine two sports teams in Dallas, Texas, which is now, which I need to mention this, I think is past Chicago as the third biggest city in the United States, and only Los Angeles and New York. The Dallas Chiefs started as the Dallas Texans.
How many teams are in New York?
2.
How many have been in L.A. at times and kind of look at it?
Yeah, 2.
2, So,
and there's 2 in LA, Chargers and
I mean, but it's been off and on, and they moved to Oakland. I mean, but I don't know how would Jerry Jones feel about that. I don't know that it would infringe on encroach on his branding. I don't think that's ideal. I think there's the San Antonio market, and there's probably other markets in Texas that you might could fit a team in and be better for the league overall. I don't know that moving to Dallas would be necessarily the answer.
I think my thoughts on this, and I'm not as deeply involved as the situation as some other Kansas City media members and Kansas City Chiefs fans, but I think it's stupid to even not to balk, but to even bluff at the idea that you're going to move to a fan base that has just been about as great an NFL fan base as there is when it comes to KC. I mean, they didn't do anything prior to Patrick Mahomes getting to that franchise, and now you're trying to punk them for more money and taxpayers around the air. I think
that's the way it's done everywhere. Is you pass a tax that funds part of the stadium, the owners pony up some money, and you move down the road. What really should happen there is they should move the Royals downtown to a new ballpark, level Kauffman Stadium, build a new Arrowhead right in the same spot. Then you demolish Arrowhead, and you have even more parking that way. So and you can build a newer, nicer stadium. It's all about luxury suites. It's all about premium seating these days. It's very comfortable to go to Arrowhead when you're sitting outdoors, like the majority of us. But it is an older stadium.
Yeah.
Kauffman, older stadium. New, but just like we're talking about renovating Bud Walton Arena, everybody wants the newest amenities. And as the owners, and you're trying to sell those premium tickets, when you don't have those premium experiences, or you're trying to cobble that together, it is just you can only stretch that rubber band so far with your facility.
And you mentioned Bud Walton Arena. Did you catch Hunter Yurchek's comments last night when he was asked about the investment and the renovation, and how he almost it's like, if you're gonna donate money, do it to the student athletes? That's how I took it.
Well, what else are you going to say sitting there next to John Calipari, your new coach, when you've hired based on many promises and many guarantees of what you're going to do? But I would imagine renovations of that facility are also something that was discussed, at least in part, in the interview process. But yeah, I mean, there is a lot to figure out. There's a lot of money to raise, and you know what helps raise money faster than anything? Winning. Just go win, and I think the money will find its way there. Now, it's chicken or egg. You got to get that NIL money first. That's the seed to get to the where you want to be as a program to raise all the money you need, and pay off your north end zone, and then you free up some credit at least.
And where do you want to end up as a program? The national championship, and Cal thinks they can win one here.
Having a dream and a burning desire to compete for championships. Why am I here? That's why I'm here.
There's the red meat. There's the Kool-Aid that you probably drank, and there's the meat that you probably ate last night. There's a lot between now and then, and I know Chuck was giving me a hard time about San Antonio, Texas next year. I would love to be there at the boardwalk in April.
I promise you I'm going on that trip.
Yeah,
so.
in April of 2025. I think it's Vegas in 2026.
Going on that one, too. Hey, speaking of great meat and feed the audience red meat, how about Joe's Grill and Cantina? Tomorrow is Fajita Friday. Here's what separates their fajitas from anyone else. They char grill the steak and the chicken. It's got great flavor. The vegetables have wonderful flavor. Try all of their variety of fajitas. I tried the brisket fajitas the other day. They were outstanding. Their steak fajitas with just the way they do the steak and marinating it and then grilling that. It just has a different flavor, a full flavor that you won't find anywhere else. And then on Saturdays, endless enchiladas, Joe's homemade enchilada sauce, and all the beef and chicken enchiladas you can stand. Joe's Grill and Cantina, South 74th Street across from Harps. You can slide in there and watch some baseball this weekend with Arkansas and Alabama at Joe's Grill and Cantina.
And some Masters this weekend, too,
that's
as
right.
it is Masters.
One of my favorite events. I mean, I don't say we've forgotten about it, but I am ready to watch the Masters.
Chuck Chuck was talking with us. I am curious. So Tiger's not going to win it. I hope he makes the cut. This would be the first time ever he didn't make the cut. The live stuff and just some other. You just Scheffler. Heck, Scheffler might get called back to his pregnant wife.
You never know.
Who could have their kid? So we'll see.
All right, all of our coverage of Coach Cal and the Razorbacks presented by Limbird Real Estate Group, serving all of Northwest Arkansas, Missouri, and the River Valley. For all of your real estate needs, go to LimbirdTeam.com. And by Maverick Mill Medical, your wellness and aesthetic center for men in Northwest Arkansas. Look better, live better, love better. Visit MaverickMillMedical.com.
Good show, everybody. We'll be back at Wheels RV tomorrow.
It's a good day to be in Arkansas. You know why? The Lotto jackpot is now more than $1.5 million. And the best part? The winning